Outlet Liquor is your place to buy a case. Stock up and save when you shop the lowest prices available every day at Outlet Liquor. You never have to wait for a sale. The more you buy, the more you save. Only at Outlet Liquor.
What's your outlet?
Welcome to I'll Hang Up and Listen. Sabres defeat the Washington Capitals 7-4 in a matinee game. Had many Sabres fans worried coming to this one. Alex Tuch going on the IR week to week. No fear, my cousin Vinnie comes in and steals the show a little bit, but not so much more than Dylan Cozens, the workhorse from Whitehorse. I am joined by none other than the man, the myth, legend himself, Sal Capaccio from WGR 550. Sal, I know you're on the road, but thank you so much for joining us, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, what am I doing on a hockey show? That was fun.
Right?
I had to stay at home and wait. I told my mom I would drive over to her house for some dinner today, but had to wait till the end of the game. So Max and I watched it at home, and we had to wait till the red zeros on the clock to make sure they put this one home.
Oh, sometimes you have to. This team hates multiple goal leads. They love making everything suspenseful. And even when I was so happy when they put the final nail in the coffin there on Dylan Cozens' hat trick, and really sealed it there with a couple minutes left, because no 2-goal lead to save for the Buffalo Sabres. We've seen that. I want to say it was that Tampa game. They gave up 3 separate 2-goal leads.
Yeah, that's right. We were there. It was amazing. And it was a fantastic hockey game to be at, but you never felt it was safe, just like today.
Yeah.
I mean, they have the lead early. They give it up. They have the lead late. You feel like, okay, you got to get this one home. You're right about that. And I think there's obviously a lot of combinations for the reasons for that. The goaltending hasn't been great this year. It's been very good at times. It's been inconsistent. I think a little bit as the season's gone on here, getting towards the end of the season, we've seen that it needs to be a bit better at times. But if this team can keep scoring and just continue to attack on offense and know who they are, they'll always have at least chances to score their way out of it like they have lately.
Absolutely, too. And obviously, as I stated at the start of the show, Alex Tuch has almost been a godsend to this hockey team. I've said it multiple times. I always thought he should be the next captain, because you're hard-pressed to find a guy in this league that when he finds out he's been traded from a perennial cup contender to essentially the worst team in the league, and has been for many years now. I mean, he had a smile ear to ear on his face. Like, he was excited. He was, this was his team growing up, he said it multiple times, growing up next to Tim Conley, to sit there and say the things he did and the reaction he had, that just screams leader to me. It really, really does. And to lose a guy like that on the ice, on a line that has been arguably, one of the best, if not the best, consistently line in all of hockey this season. I mean, you're going to have 3 30-plus goal scorers. You already have, I'm assuming Alex Tuch gets back in a reasonable time, you'll have, 3 30-goal scorers on that line. Not many teams have that. And to have that guy go down and kind of like a mystery, just your lower body, you're not really they stay on the longer end of week to week. Have that guy go down. I mean, they didn't miss a beat today. They were able to plug in Vinnie Hinostroza and just kind of pick up where they left off on their Florida road trip.
Yeah, a couple of things there. I think, they got a few guys who are captain material on this team, right? I think Dylan Cozens for sure has that makeup as well. Darlene for sure. He could be a captain on this team. As long as Kyle Oposo's in a Sabres uniform, he'll probably be the captain. Who knows what happens after this year? We'll see. They have that. And I think that's what helps you get through times like this. You have leaders like that. You have guys like that can really kind of step in, fill those roles. And then a guy like Hinostroza who, he's determined. He doesn't want to go back to Rochester. He wants to stay up here. He wants to be here for the stretch run. And I give Don Granato a lot of credit for today to figuring it out. There's been times this year where maybe he's tinkered with a couple things here or there. It didn't work out. I think today it worked out. Jack Quinn looked really good up on that line. He really did. And then to put Vinnie where he was. And, the resurgence of Casey Middlestat, he had another strong game today, I felt. Casey's not perfect, but I think the last maybe month and a half, 2 months, he's really starting to show that he understands time and space and what he has to do and who he has to get the puck to. And, when you have players like that who are understanding their roles, you have that leadership, I think it goes a long way to helping in a game like today. And look at Dylan Cozens, his first career hat trick. I don't think it's any coincidence it happens in a game where he needs to step up.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was kind of surprising to hear that was his first. I know this has been a career year for him, but I
right.
Kind of surprised to hear that was his first hat trick. But just that kid does everything right, man. Like, and you go. I don't want to say you go a ways back, but you're like me. You remember Michael Pekka, right? Like you remember the type
of course.
Of he played.
That's the comp, yeah.
His play screams Michael Pekka to me. A guy who is going to be in the conversation for the Selke, I think, further down in his career. A guy who does everything right in both ends of the rink. And, plays a physical style of hockey that we don't see too often in this lineup. Defensively, you kind of see it with Dahlin from time to time. Obviously, you don't want him being the guy to do that or Samuelson. But, push comes to shove, Cozens will always step up, even though Peyton Krebs kind of holds the team lead maybe this year for fighting majors. But I know it's kind of an on-running joke. But to that point, Krebs was sent down on the fourth line to play with Okposo and Girgensons for a big part of the game, and it's done wonders for his game. You see it, the snarl in his game, and you saw it today. He's in on everything, and it's helped his game a lot. He was a big piece coming back in that Jack Eichel trade, and it's really paid dividends in his game playing with two veterans like that, two leaders like that, who's been able to bring that out of him because for the first stretch of games of this season. First 20 games, he was invisible out there, but every single player in this lineup is finding a way to contribute right now, and they need that now more than ever. This was a 4-point game tonight, with Washington, biting at your heels in the standings, and you have games in hand.
And now you have the Islanders. Obviously, I think they're playing right now against Winnipeg, right? I mean, that's a big one. I think that's the game going on. So obviously that's really big, but you're right. All these games matter. They play Columbus coming up. You got to get those. You got to get the ones against these teams. They have a very tough stretch coming up. Back to Cozens. I love this kid. I do so much. My son Max has his jersey, 24. We were in the game in Tampa, like I said, and we were outside the MLA arena, and the Sabres hotel happened to be nearby. And someone said, the players are actually walking through this alleyway to get to the arena. So we waited, and Cozens and Tage both came in at the same time. So he went up and he said hi, and Dylan was so unassuming. He's just he's all about hockey, and he wants to do everything he can, I think, to help this team win. He obviously signed the big contract, but he had a big smile on his face when he saw him wearing his jersey. It was really cool. We got a picture with him. Max was over the moon about that, and that was cool. And you watch him, the way he plays on the ice and his demeanor, he's going to do everything he can. And I do go back to that. I agree. I think that, and I do go way back. I'm old. I would say that, he is, Mike Pekka is the comp right there. And, it's funny you mentioned the Selke. I said that same thing to my boss. We were having a conversation about 2 weeks ago, Duane, and I said, you think Cozens is the kind of guy that could be in the Selke conversation? And he kind of perked up. He's like, yeah, I never thought of it. That he probably is that kind of guy. I don't know if they give it to that particular type of player these days as much anymore because he might be scoring, too many goals. But to be honest with you, he's also the kind of guy, and I'll steal this from Paul Hamilton. Paul actually said on the radio a few weeks ago, if the Sabres were to ever win a cup, we dream here, he's the kind of player that would win the Conn Smythe. That's the kind 100%. Of game he has.
I 100% agree. Going back to that comparison, for me, Patrice Bergeron has won the Selke multiple times.
Right.
He scores a lot of goals, but he also takes care of business in his own end. And, even with the inconsistencies from guys like Jack Quinn and Paterka, who are rookies, it's expected. Dylan Cozens has always been the driving force behind that line. Whether or not that line is clicking, he finds a way to get it done, whether it's in the penalty kill, whether it's in the power play, 5-on-5. He finds a way to get it done. And when this team is ready to be a contender, when that day comes, hopefully sooner rather than later, he's going to be a huge reason why, man. He's going to be the guy that's out there in the last 30 seconds of a game, a one-goal game, taking that face off, because you got to trust in him to shut down whoever it is, the opposing top goal scorer. You need that guy out there, much like what Pekka was. I remember the original Karuba collision highlight reel, Pekka laying out Alexei Yashin at center ice, man. They used to call it a bone-crunching hit, to quote RJ. I see Dylan Cozens as that guy. And joined by here, producer Steve, too. Sorry to to keep you on hold there, Steve. But we're joined by Sal Capaccio from WR 550. This is my producer, Steve.
How's it going,
Hey,
bud?
how you doing, Steve? Yeah, and go back. And you know what? I didn't realize. You're right. I'm looking at Selke winners too. Barkov won it a couple years ago.
Yep.
I guess it doesn't matter. You score goals these days. I remember growing up, those Selke winners. Like Craig Ramsey did score, but I go way back to when he was a finalist or a winner. I mean, I think the way that a lot of these, like the Norris Trophy, we've talked a lot about, and how different guys and different styles are getting it back compared to maybe many years ago. But I guess the overall point is right. That's the kind of game, that two-way game that that Dylan Cozens has that can really help this team out. So yeah, it's just fun to watch him and this team right now.
Yeah, and in terms like you say that fun, Steve, I'll let you cut in here in a second. That has always been the one, like even when they were losing, prior to Don Granato, the games just they just weren't. And losing is never fun, but I remember even in the dark, not say at the beginning of the dark years, back when we still had Stafford and Miller on the team and stuff the games were still fun to be at because you could tell the players cared about how much this meant to us. And that was always my hang up earlier in the, a couple of years ago, was it just didn't seem like they cared about how much this mattered to us. And I think it reflected it obviously in the attendance. It was just an ongoing, just you go back to those Ryan O'Reilly comments, I lost the love for the game and this and that. It's a completely night and day difference with this team. You can tell it matters so much to them that we're there and that we're supporting them. Whereas in years prior, it hasn't been like that.
And that letter that Darlene wrote, I mean, right? I think that kind of speaks to that when he wrote that letter about what it means. And, you guys know, you listen to the radio enough to know I'm a culture guy, right? I believe in that stuff. Now, do I think it gets overplayed? Of course I do. I think that everybody says it. But, when Kevin Adams comes in and talks about guys who want to be here, the culture, and I understand that people just kind of brush that off, and why people do, because you hear it from all the coaches, no matter in any sport. But I think it matters here. I think it matters what he has built. He's wanted guys that you want to be here. You want to be here. You want to be a part of what we're doing, part of what we're building. You look at the people as much as you do the players, right? You got to have good players, but it's the people and the DNA and the makeup, and you have to have a certain type, and that's what that culture is that they want. And I think they've found it here. And there's a few more tweaks along the way, and this team is going to be really a fun team and contention for a long time, I think.
Steve, your thoughts?
Well, I think my general thoughts are that the team knew going into this game that they were going to be missing Alex Tuch, and Dylan Cozens stepped up to be that driving force, that kind of guy who comes out and plays every single shift at 100%, makes an impact any spot of the ice he's playing in. Obviously, also Darlene was out, which is also a huge detriment to an already
forget about him too.
Questionable D-line that we have. Obviously Darlene, Samuelson, and Power are all incredible, but the other three members of that have streaky, I guess would be the term. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're oof.
God awful.
But yeah, that's all to say. The team needed to make a statement. They needed to say, doesn't matter what chips are dealt to us. We are going to play. We're going to give it 100%. And Dylan Cozens does exactly what Alex Tuch does every single night. And he played as hard as humanly possible. And, clearly it paid off on the scoreboard with his first career NHL hat trick, as well as an assist for a 4-point night for a kid who's about to start, another $7 million deal that people were raising eyebrows about.
Oh, my God.
But, it's once again, they got faith in these kids, and they're buying low. And I feel both of those contracts are going to be paying off dividends for years to come.
Hey, I'm going to let you guys talk amongst yourself and to your fans and listeners. I appreciate you having me on today. And I just got to my mom's house, and when mom's dinner is calling, I got to get inside and have it.
I completely understand, Sal. Would love to have you on again sometime.
Absolutely, man. Reach out anytime. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you, man. Thank you.
Peace out.
Got it.
So thanks for Sal Capaccio from WGR 550 hopping in at the last second to celebrate this huge win. And to piggyback off his comments, him being a culture guy, culture has been a huge driving force for this season. And it really has been, man. It's a buzzword that gets said a lot. He's right there. But I think in this locker room, compared to what we've dealt with in the past in terms of that word culture, it matters so much more to this season, to this team to change, to change the culture from what it was in the leadership group that they had to what it is now. And people were doubting coming into the season, having Okposo and Gergetsons kind of lead the way, and what would they be able to carry over what they ended the season last year like? In a lot of the games that were fun to go to, RJ Knight including Jack Eichel night, his first game back in Buffalo, like all of that, how much that meant to this city, and how it was questionable whether it would carry over into this year with the lack of moves made, splashes made in the offseason, bringing in Labushkin and Comrie, them guys kind of, re-signing Hinostroza, who, made, re-debuted with the Sabres tonight or today, and, made a splash on his own accord. Was questionable whether or not they were able to carry over that success, and they've been able to.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely a gamble to do arguably as little as you did in free agency last summer. But, it was a gamble that clearly the organization was willing to take. Like, they know they have, a wide breadth of young talent. And, yes, there's a set of expectations that were up this year that it's like, we can't just be fun and middling. We have to take a step forward. And it seems like they believe that some of these young kids could take that step forward. And honestly, I think a lot of that does come down to leadership work. Like, obviously, Kyle Okposo is the captain of this team. He's, trying, like that speech he gave at the prospects tournament back in July to every single prospect, like 30 kids that were like 18, 19, 20 something years old. Mm-hmm. You have no idea how hungry this city is for a winning team, how hungry this city is for a championship team. And you have a chance to be a part of that. You have a chance to build this from the ground up, because, up until this point, it was basically scorched fucking earth. It was bad. It was grim, 18-game losing streak, throw away Ryan O'Reilly for 3 dudes who barely even play in the NHL anymore, and Tate Thompson, which thankfully became TNT. Mm-hmm. But that could have just as easily been a dumpster fire. Sam Reinhart goes away, Jack Eichel goes away. Thank God Risto goes away. But, again, the leadership in this locker room, I mean, from what we hear, Darlene is mostly quiet, but when he needs to say something, he's not shy to speak up.
Yep.
And I think not even I can't speak to what's happening in the locker room, but obviously the way Alex Tuch plays just speaks volumes to every single young guy. Like, while Quinn and Peterka may not quite have that skill set, they're not capitalizing on every opportunity to get, but they're clearly picking up on what he's putting down, because every single time they go out there, they are working their asses off. They know that every shift matters. Every shift counts. Do what you can with the limited ice time you're given, and it will come together. And I think obviously when you got a guy like Dylan Cozens leading those two, it's not going to take as long as people think it will. But, Jack Quinn's been doing a lot better. I mean, JJ's been a little bit more invisible lately, but I think he's also been spending a little time with Victor Olofsson, who and again, I don't want to shit on Olofsson, but every single line that he ends up on, that's the line that's the most invisible in any given game. So it at this point, it can't just be a statistical anomaly. It's just got to be. There's got to be something going on there that it's just the rest of the line can't carry whatever he's bringing to the table 5-on-5. But, in short, the culture has changed. The leaders are well known, and everybody who needs to be picking up on this is the way we are now. It kind of seems like a revitalization of the Buffalo Sabres are the hardest working team in hockey mentality that was in the early 2000s.
96, 97.
Yeah. We're just going to
ever, man.
We're going to fucking work. Win or lose, it doesn't matter. I don't care who we're up against. We're putting in the work, and it will eventually pay off.
And you know what, man? Going back to that team, I remember we used to they gave away hard hats for the fans to wear at games when they got that moniker, the hardest working team in hockey, and everyone would show up to there in their red goat hard hat. We were so proud of that hockey team. Obviously had the best goalie that ever lived in that. But again, we're going back to guys like Mike Pekka, Bobby Putner, Rob Ray, Matt Barnaby, Brad Mayday himself. Those guys left it all out on the ice, and they knew how much it mattered to the fans. And, I don't think you get the same result with those teams as you did if that arena is half empty. They really did thrive off the fans and the culture, and what they were building on that year, Ted Nolan, and then after that, Lindy Ruff. Like, I just feel those vibes with this team so much, man, and it's just a breath of fresh air to finally, have those feelings back again, man. Where you tune in at every game and you're not turning it off, even when they're down by 2. Like, you're spending your day working up to that Sabres game. It's like, I can't wait for the game, man. I go to somebody's house, go to a bar. Like, what are you doing for the game? Whereas in years past, it's been like, oh, the Sabres are playing. Whatever. Like, it's just like, even I every once in a while would turn the game off after they go down by 2 or 3. Like, I just never gave them a chance in hell to scratch and crawl back like this team can, because it's just, you just didn't see it in their body language and their emotion and their reaction after letting in a goal. Like, they were dead in the water.
Yeah. And yeah, and it feels crazy to think that was just like a year or two ago.
Yeah.
Barely a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think if the timeline's right, 2021, we were still just near the tail end of the 18-game L streak. I think that was broken sometime at the very beginning of March, and I think that was against Philly, if I'm not mistaken. No, it wasn't Philly, but we almost broke it against Philly, and then we just fucking choked. And I remember Darlene's comments at the end of that when he was just like, "Yeah, I don't know. We just went up like 3-0, and like we just kind of like short circuited. We didn't really know what to do at that point, and we just didn't know how to close it out."
What was that your impersonation of?
That was like Darlene or something.
Oh, Darlene. That's more of a French Canadian accent, but that's nothing close to a Swedish accent. But I'll give you props for trying. It's just been, this season's just different, man. And I've been a very loud advocate of, people want to stick to the plan. People want to stick to the plan, stick with this group. I agree with that to an extent, but at the end of the day, this is a business, and business is making playoffs. And as a GM, your job is to give this team the best chance they have to make the playoffs. And I understand it sucks when you've grown this relationship with certain players on a team that you don't want to see leave because you have their jersey, or you just love the videos the Sabres put out that feature them in it. But at the end of the day, like, how much more would it mean for this team to get to the playoffs? Like, how much more would it mean to this fan base to break that 11-year drought? Like, how much more would it mean? Like, to be in this position we're in right now. This is a 4-point game. You gain points on the Capitals. You still have games in hand. Let's see here. You still have games in hand on the Senators, on the Panthers, who are obviously behind you in the standings. But like, you have games in hand on all of these teams, and you're making those games in hand count. The Red Wings too, who I believe are losing right now. Double check that right now, or are they playing right now? Or
they are not playing today, but
they're playing tomorrow. They play the Senators.
Pittsburgh does play later against Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I believe they lost yesterday to Tampa Bay. Yes, 3-0. But they play Ottawa tomorrow. You have games in hand on all of these teams.
Mm-hmm.
Going out of the Atlantic Division, you have games in hand on the Rangers. Just one, but still a game in hand. The Islanders, you have multiple games in hand who are ahead of you in the standings. You're neck and neck with Pittsburgh, who, obviously that's a good hockey team. And then again, Washington, who, 4-point swing tonight. All of these teams you have games in hand on. And, coming in as I started the show, it was kind of hearing that you're not going to have Alex Tuch or Rasmus Dahlin tonight in such an important game while you have this game in hand advantage. To come out of the gates like that, while you kept on giving up goals. Looking back on those goals, I can't say I blame UPL entirely for playing a bad game. I think maybe he'd want 1 or 2 of those shots back, but he made some timely saves in the third period when it counted. And again, 4-point swing. And now you head into this is a tough stretch for your schedule going in, in a very tough division. So you have to keep it up. You have to keep going. You have to, you got the Bruins coming up here on Thursday, the Oilers after that, the Stars after that, the Maple Leafs again after that. 4 games in a row against playoff teams.
We get a brief respite on Tuesday against the Blue Jackets, but still,
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. The Blue Jackets, yes, on Tuesday. But you look at these games that you have coming up. The Blue Jackets, then the Bruins, then the Lightning, then the Oilers. Sorry, I was reading it in the wrong order. The Lightning, then the Oilers, then the Islanders, who are in a playoff hunt right now, scratching and clawing just like we are. Then the Stars, the Rangers, the Maple Leafs. Like, it's just, like the schedule is not going to get easy for them. And I'm not having Alex Tuch. That's, while it didn't matter much tonight, it's going to matter down the road. So to take advantage of these games in hand right now, it's so important.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. It is worth remembering, while we don't want to put all our eggs in the basket of the last 2 games of the year, but the last 2 games of the year are against the Ottawa Senators and then a makeup game against the Blue Jackets as a result of the one that was canceled due to that blizzard back around Christmas time. So that would be that's the 13th and the 14th, and I believe we might be the only team in the league playing that Friday the 14th. I'd have to double check that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's a tough spot to be in. I mean, obviously, there are some prospects that I would personally prefer not to move, like guys like Savoy, guys like Kulik. Like, I don't feel comfortable putting those guys on a block unless we're getting like close to generational talent in return, because I honestly feel those people could project into players of that caliber. Like, if not Kulik, then for sure Savoy.
I don't know about, I would say, generational, because if you're talking generation, you're talking about guys like Connor McDavid or Connor Bedard. But I think they project to be very good players. Yeah,
just like a certified, no questions asked, this is a first line dude through and through. Like, yeah, I and don't get me wrong, I know Timo Meier is that, and I know that that's what everyone's clamoring for. Like, the minute that everybody heard Alex Tuch is injured, it's like, let's fucking trade for Timo Meier. Let's fucking trade for Timo Meier. And it sounds like we've been kicking the tires on it like a bit, but like, it sounds like the ask, it might be too rich for our blood right now, which.
Well, but here's the thing too, not to cut you off, but like, you have those wealth of riches in the pipeline, and, 2 second-round draft picks this next draft. I mean,
3, actually.
Sorry, it's a 3. Okay, it's 3.
3 second-round picks, yeah.
3 second-round picks. I mean, you have a wealth of riches in the pipeline where you could go and make a Timo Meier trade happen. You
absolutely could.
Your last 2 drafts, you had 5 first-round draft picks. You used them all. You drafted Owen Power and Isaac Rosine, and then Matthew Savoy, Noah Ostlund, and Yuri Kulik, in that order.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there's no guaranteeing 4 of those 5, because obviously Owen Power is already up and contributing immensely. There's no guaranteeing 4 of those 5 guys are going to be full-time contributors to this team. And you're playing a numbers game at some point. Like, you already have a wealth of riches in your current lineup when it comes to youth. How do you make it work where you could turn maybe 2 of these 4 guys into a player that's going to slot in and help you in your top 6 immediately? And do those players project to be a Timo Meier? Do those players project to be, what defensively Jacob Chikrin could do for you? I hate to talk Jacob Chikrin, but just throwing that out there as an example. The players that are always rumored to be out there, potentially available, to a lesser extent, Brock Besser, who I believe, Kurt, honestly, could be a consistent 25 to 30 goal scorer every year when healthy on the right team. And Vancouver's just been a dumpster fire all season, between what happened with Bruce Boudreau and just the consistent losing. I think that guy healthy in Don Granato's lineup contributes immediately in your top 6. And do we project all 4 of those guys to be those guys? It's hard to tell. It really is.
They are.
As much as I've liked Yuri Kulik in the AHL in Rochester, can you say without a doubt that he is going to be that guy on your first or second line?
No, but I do think that
always makes that jump.
Yeah, no, but I do think that he is the perfect person to replace a Victor Olofsson sniper, but with more 5-on-5 capability.
Yes,
which is ultimately what we need. If Victor Olofsson could be a sniper who can also fucking back check or throw a hit from time to time, I don't think anyone would ever give him any grief.
No, nobody.
But all he does is snipe. And if he doesn't play on a line of just two unreal playmakers, you can't snipe. But if your third line one day is Yuri Kulik on the left side, Peyton Krebs in the center, and whoever the fuck on the right, you know Krebs is going to find you. Like, if it's Krebs, Peterka, Kulik, that's a dangerous depth scoring line right there. If it's Quinn, Cozens, and insert Timo Meier here, that would be beautiful. But that's all to say. Of all those four people, I think presently, just from what I've seen, Ostlund is developing the slowest. Although some people make the argument that maybe Savoy is developing a little more slowly because
Ostlund plays in a league where he's kind of like a kid amongst men, isn't he?
Yeah, it's it's a little bit of an apples and oranges thing. Whereas Matt Savoy, he's in the same league he was in last year and not quite putting up the points that he was. Yeah. He's not far off, but you usually like to see after a draft year like that to take it from that 90 points to 100 plus. Because again, that league, your team, you should be making that leap forward. But but again, at the same time, no player's development is a straight line up. Tage Thompson's a golden example. He was basically invisible until last year, and then all of a sudden he's TNT. So at the end of the day, a lot of this could just be a crapshoot.
Yep.
A kid who looks like a fucking stud when he's 18 could be useless by the time he's 25. Yep. Looking at you, Yakupov. But a kid who looks like he's got a great shot, but he can't skate to save his fucking life at the age of 18, who you pick up in the fourth, he might be able to turn around and become a real good depth guy. You never know. It's tough to say. And, I'm not going to sit here and act like I'm a development guy.
We'll hit the peanut gallery here.
Yeah.
4-point day in favor of Buffalo. Now we need the Pens to lose tonight to Tampa. Go Sabres. They did it so crazy we could get in, boys. 100%. And I'll go to the next comment from this guy too. This is funny. Dylan's my favorite. Not this one. Dylan's my favorite player, the workhorse from Whitehorse, first player to ever draft from the Yukon. Where is it? This is a good one. I just spent $1,000 on 35 Cozens rookie. I love it, man. I love that passion. I love it, man. He's all in on Dylan Cozens, and I friggin' love it. Yeah, but going back to our point before, again, he says this team cares about the community. They do. They realize how much this team and how they perform, whether it's not winning, how they perform and how they carry themselves, how much it matters to this community. It is about winning, but it's more than that. I hate to say it, but defense may not be this team's future. We'll have to start scoring 6 to 7 goals a night for us to have a chance. No relying on an elite goaltender. Agreed. I know there was some speculation about Cam Talbot out of Ottawa. He declined to sign an extension. That was yesterday. We'll see what happens with that. Sabres could be in the market for a goaltender. They should be in the market for another defenseman. Because, again, as fun as this win is, with both, granted, Dahlin is day-to-day, but if he misses even 2 more games, this team could go 0-2 and 0-3 the next 3 games very easily with this schedule that they're facing. Granted, again, they said they have the Blue Jackets, but then you kind of run into possibly the most difficult stretch of your schedule. And there's a couple, 4-point games in there sprinkled in. So, I think you have to make a move defensively. I've been on the Luke Shen train for a while now. If you can get him out of Vancouver for a reasonable price, I don't think it's all about Jacob Chikrin, personally, for me.
I've heard people toss around the name like Fabry from Nashville or even Nick Jensen from the Capitals, who we just played today.
Yeah, you can tell the Capitals are kind of selling right now. They got rid of Dmitry Orlov, so
which also is just insane, given that they literally have. I don't think they have any defensemen signed into next year.
Yeah,
I truly have no goddamn idea what they're going to do on the blue line.
I would say expect a defense-heavy draft for them. We'll get Ryan Drury on soon to talk about that. Big Caps fan there. I'm sure he's killing him, really shaking his head harder than ever after today's performance from the Capitals.
Oh, I see a tweet from him every week or two, just like they just got to blow this team up. This is just rough.
Yeah.
But I know they're not going to do that because the goal is. I think right now the goal is just to make sure Ovi breaks Gretzky's record, and then from there it's like we'll clean up shop after.
From Mauricio, still goaltending is an issue. Reliable, stable, consistent goaltending can outscore better quality NHL teams. I agree with you. While UPL played good enough to win tonight, he still let up 4 goals. And you can't rely on this team to always score 5, 6, 7 goals every night. You need your goaltending to be strong, much like Craig Anderson against Florida. 50 save performance, came real close to the shutout. Would have loved that for him. But you can't always rely on that. But guys like Eric Hammer, the game before against Tampa, came up with some very key saves, especially there in the third period and in overtime. I put out a poll earlier this week, like who's your 1A? Who are you riding with? And it was, for the most part, it was UPL. I personally, for my 1A, if you can figure it out, again, a good rotation for me, it's Craig Henderson. He has the experience, and he's the guy I trust the most in must-win games. He's proven it in the past in must-win situations, whether it was Eichel night, whether I believe it was RJ night, those games that matter big time, he's been there and he's shown up and he's performed out of his mind. Not many teams have a 300 win goaltender on their roster right now. We do. Again, you have to limit his games played in certain stretches, but I think that's the guy I would ride or die with going into the playoffs right now, unless there is a change made between now and I think it's Monday's deadline.
I believe if it's the 3rd, right?
Is it the 3rd?
I think it's the 3rd. So I'm pretty sure it's Friday.
Oh, is it Friday? I'm sorry. Okay. It's not the following Monday. It's Friday. Okay.
Yeah, this coming Friday, which should be the big time deadline.
Yeah. So, but a few more comments here. Also in the DMs for the 2 goalies, 1 Mike account, we have it from Mr. Cricket Whistle himself. Guy who's always in our mentions, big fan of the show, and we're a big fan of him. Vinnie Hinostroza's performance tonight. He was a plug and play guy. People were kind of disappointed maybe that Yuri Kulik wasn't the guy they called up, but Vinnie stepped in. I think he had 2 or 3 points tonight, a goal and 1 or 2 apples. Played great.
The passing play on that goal he scored, though, was fucking unreal.
Yeah, it was great. It was awesome. It was unbelievable.
I feel like that's the kind of passing play that they think every single passing play is going to turn into. And now that it finally did, I don't know. Maybe they'll get back into that shoot first mentality sometimes when they have an open lane. But God, that was just that looked like something that you would see the Lightning do in the playoffs. That was just like tic tac, boom, just done.
Another thing too, I know you like JJ a lot. Does he seem like he's a little timid or tentative out there? Because he's usually a guy who's his bread and butter is his speed. And personally, to me, watching him out there, speed is he kind of takes away from his biggest asset, which is his speed. He looks a little tentative out there.
I don't know. I mean, I did see a couple really good forechecks out of him. Going in there when somebody drives pucks in deep, trying to win that wall battle. But again, I think ultimately with him, it might just be the size of it, the speed of everybody else, just the physical game that he's just not quite yet acclimated to. Mm-hmm. I ultimately think of those young kids, he's the last chip to drop. Like clearly Krebs has embraced getting a little snotty when it needs to be. Jack Quinn just had his first NHL Tilly of his career. Dylan Cozens we've seen is definitely not he'll do it if he has to, but God, we really hope he doesn't with, now that his hands are worth $7 million a year, I would strongly prefer it not be him. So, I mean, I'm sure there's going to become a game where JJ Peterka gets pushed to that point where he's going to start getting a little bit more aggressive, start to get that kind of more, and I don't know, maybe he just needs to spend a couple weeks playing with Zemgus Girgensons, like Krebs' little tenure on the line with Girgensons and Okposo, just kind of taught him to play a little more of a hard nose, just don't overthink it. Just do it. Do what you got to fucking do and do it right. And we know that JJ's got the skill set to do it. I think he's just I'm not even sure if it's just the fact that he's scared. It's just like, I don't know, maybe just the it's been a lot of line shifting, and maybe it's a little bit harder for him to find chemistry than it was when he was playing with his best buddy in Rochester for the overwhelming majority of the year.
Quick score update for games that matter to Buffalo. Islanders still lead the Jets 1-0 in the second period. Second period, which just started a few minutes ago. 5:00 today, you got the Rangers against the Kings. That's an important game. And then even more so, the Penguins against the Lightning at 6:00. So a lot of games that matter a lot to Buffalo right now in the standings. And, lately the scoreboard has been going Buffalo's way, but it's not always going to go Buffalo's way. But I think right now, with dealing with the Alex Tuch injury, you need to at least get every single game to overtime if you're not going to win. And you need that out-of-town scoreboard to go your way.
Which has been in their favor this season, which is strange. They're an incredibly strong road team this year, which is, obviously refreshing. Just like, you want to see them be strong everywhere, but it has been nice to see just how strong they were. Like that first road trip out west to start the year, they swept it. I'm pretty sure this. Oh wait, no, they didn't sweep it. They lost to Seattle, but went into Calgary, cleaned house. Went into Edmonton, cleaned house. Almost positive they cleaned house in Vancouver, and then they couldn't quite close it against Seattle. But yeah, no, that was a pretty 6 out of 8 points where it's like we might get 4 of these felt pretty good. It just wasn't the teams that we thought we were going to get them against.
Yeah. So with that being said, deadline again, less than a week away. Do you project any kind of, I guess you could say, for the lack of better terms, big splash moves by Kevin Adams? Or do you think that they'll be smaller, bottom 6, maybe a depth defenseman, somebody that might be on the level or better than Yoki Haru to fill in here at the end? Or do you expect them, do you expect these rumors about Timo Meier, them checking him? Do you expect them to be really wheels to that? Is there, again, I don't need Timo Meier, but a guy like Brock Besser to me would make sense. Again, I know he's dealt with a lot of injuries in his past, but a guy, if he stays healthy, I think would fit well into that locker room and fit well, needs a change of scenery, who wants to win, and I think would do well in this lineup. Do you expect moves to be made, especially with the Alex Tuch injury and the length it's expected to be, or do you expect them to kind of sit put?
I don't think they sit put on the D line, just because I think it's been pretty clear all season, especially with the 8-game losing streak we were handed when Samuelson was out of the lineup, that prioritizing strengthening the D line when literally the only other depth defenseman we have, if somebody else goes down, is to call back up Lawrence Pilot. Yeah, like that winning a playoff team does not make. So I think it would be, I'm not going to quite say criminal, but it would just kind of be foolish to not do anything about that blue line. But that's all to say. I mean, Kevin's always talking about he's always having the conversations. He's always trying to see whatever's possible. Try to make any moves that make sense for this team. Yep. And I think as it becomes more of a realistic possibility, like as we've multiple times in the past couple of days have secured the second wild card spot, if only for, a less than 24-hour period, we are in it. And one of these days we might be in it and it's the last day of the season. I really think that pressure might be weighing on him, that it's like, I do need to make a move to show these boys that I have the confidence in them, that, they've got what it takes right now, but I want to be absolutely sure that it happens. And I want to, win or lose, once you get to that first round, I just want to make sure you guys do it. I want to help you carry it home. Yep. Because they do seem to be able to be capable of doing it if they did nothing. But I would really, really, really love that insurance of doing something to shore up the D line. And again, I would prefer.
I think the D line, especially, I think goaltending.
Yeah, I think if we could pull Fabry away from Nashville for one of those second round picks or something like that. They took a second round pick.
Is he under contract though? Beyond this season?
Let me take a gander.
I don't think Buffalo's unless again, I say Luke Shen only because it'll only cost you maybe a 3rd round pick. We know we don't have any, but something along those lines. Maybe you make a deal that gets you a 3rd round pick and you flip that into a Luke Shen deal. I don't think it costs you maybe a 3rd and a player. I don't know.
Sorry, I kept saying Fabry. I meant Dante Fabro, not Fabry. Fabry's with the Red Wings. But he is a pending RFA, not a UFA.
So you would control his rights.
So, yeah, you would be able to negotiate a deal. And right now he's only at 2.4. Very reasonable. You don't have to retain a goddamn thing, obviously.
Yeah, but space. And that's why they say one of the reasons they might have kept Alex Tuch on IR instead of moving him to LTIR, because when you move a player to LTIR, that means their cap hit comes off your books, and they're barely at the cap the cap floor as it is. Yeah. Meaning they would have to almost make a trade for a more expensive player to meet the cap floor. I'm pretty sure that's part of the reason why they might have done it that way. Hopefully that's not the case, and they expect him to be back, sooner than what it would have been on LTIR.
Yeah, I just honestly think that just where the team is, you want some veteran experience. Yeah, you want that veteran depth, but to spend $10,000 more to get a 32-year-old Nick Jensen versus a 24-year-old Dante Fabro, who's an RFA instead of a UFA. And it's worth mentioning that, Fabro's been playing the majority of his career with guys like Roman Josi, one of the best in the biz. And I think that people forget just how goddamn good Roman Josi is just because he's been in Nashville this whole time. He's an incredible player. He's been if he hasn't been one of the top Norris candidates, it's always somebody who's let's not forget he's real good. But maybe not so much this year, but the guy knows how to play the game. It's just, I think Nashville's finally accepting the fact that they need to start selling. They need to start building towards something new because they can't count on they can't count on Duchesne and Forsberg to be their only two forwards indefinitely.
They've been doing the same thing essentially since back when they had friggin' Weber and Zuban. You know what I mean? Or both of them. I remember one was traded for the other. But you know what I mean? They've always been trying to do the same thing. Whereas maybe it's a year or two overdue to really, start selling some pieces and build for the future. Because you have a phenomenal fan base out there, and they deserve another deep cup run. Personally, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
it's a great fan base.
I absolutely loved that deep cup run they made. I was all in on Thrashville that year. That was beautiful. I loved it. That was such a fun team to watch in that postseason. I loved it. But even still this year, you saw fish thrown on the ice during a game, during an episode. That's a good fan base, and he wasn't expected. I think that's one of the, the success stories of the NHL via expansion, where things went well. Obviously, Columbus, I really don't think Columbus they didn't really expect hockey not to work in there. But then you look at teams like Arizona, who've been literally on, hanging by a thread for years and years and years. Even when they are good, they can't fill that arena. Or before they were in a college arena. Breaking just in. Elliot Friedman is hearing Timo Meier to New Jersey right now. Yeah, we've been hearing that for months, and honestly, I just given where they are, just given where New Jersey is in the standings, they're in that position to make that kind of move and move those kinds of assets. Yep. They're poised, especially knowing that they're probably going to have to face the New York Rangers, who are stockpiling their ammunition for that first round, with the acquisition of guys like Tarasenko and the like, and the imminent Patrick Kane deal, which is almost an inevitability at this point. And I've got my feelings about that, but I'm not going to bore anybody here listening to that. I'm not quite sure what Tyler Mott adds to the mix, but whatever. Drury loves Tyler Mott. I'm not going to argue with him. But, Tarasenko's in there, Nikola for some depth defense. And again, almost a certainty at this point, Patrick Kane. So to try to neutralize that with a Timo Meier acquisition it's going to be interesting. I'm really looking forward to seeing what New Jersey has to part with to finally make this happen.
It's going to be a lot because obviously he's an RFA, he has a qualifying offer of $9 to $10 million.
That's the part that I've always been a little, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's an awful lot of cheddar.
Yep. I That's a tough. That is literally a tough return. I personally think that Timo Meier, the return for him should be greater than what Jacob Chychrun is. Even though Chychrun's on a very team-friendly deal, I think what Arizona wants to return is, I think it was more than what Buffalo got for Jack Eichel.
I think it's like 2 firsts, legitimate NHL players, etc. Like, it's a goodie bag.
Yeah,
just. Yeah.
So we're obviously going to stay. I was gonna cut out here after this, but now with that news, just waiting to hear, what this possible return could be for Timo Meier. Also from Pierre LeBrun, still pending the official trade call, but hearing that the New Jersey have acquired Timo Meier from the San Jose Sharks. Again, I'm glad it's ending, the whole Timo Meier thing, because finally we can just be done with it and move on to other players at the deadline and not have to think that we have to make this massive splash. I know there's going to be Sabres fans out there that are going to be upset and pissed off that Buffalo didn't get him. We have the room. We have the
wait till you see the return. If
it's going to be massive. It's going to be massive.
Exactly. Like
I think for me, this is a situation where damned if you do, damned if you don't. Yeah. Am I mad that Timo Meier's not a Buffalo Sabre? Sure. I mean, I guess who doesn't want him? He's gonna be a bona fide 40+ goal scorer for a long time every year. He's a phenomenal finisher. The kid has it all. But it would have cost us a lot of assets, and it would have cost a lot against the cap. Which is why it's a double-edged sword, right? It's like it is what it is. Now you can move on to other options at the deadline, whatever those players might be. Maybe it is Brock Besser. Maybe it is Luke Shed. Maybe it is Tyler Myers. Maybe it is Favreau. Maybe it is, there's a long list of players that are still going to be out there and available at the deadline for this team to be better.
Now just for spitballing shit posting, if you could get a package return that gets you both Brock Besser and Thatcher Demko, what kind of goodies would you be willing to throw Vancouver's way?
Well, Thatcher Demko, I think, is on a pretty team-friendly deal, and
I think it's 5 or 6. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, not team-friendly deal, but they would probably have
a reasonable. I would
want Vancouver to retain a little bit of that salary. It's 5 years, $25 million, so 5 years.
He's got 4 years. He's got 3 years left after this one.
Yeah, which would meet up with a timeline that you would have for a Devin Levi, or if he signs Eric Portillo.
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't hate that deal. Mm-hmm. He'd be a good bridge for you between both goaltenders, and a phenomenal 1A, 1B once one push comes to shove. But, what would that say to UPL then? You know what I mean? You had that conversation with them in the offseason last year. We still believe in you. We have a lot of faith in you, but this is a move made for now. We want you to play a lot of games in Rochester. And that's a no. At that point, I think if you make a deal for Thatcher Demko, it kind of like tells UPL maybe it's time for them to move on. Because that's your guy. You're paying him $5 million a year. That's your guy.
Yeah, I mean, it's safe to say Craig Anderson will not be back here next year.
No, he will not.
And at $1.8 million, I don't think it would be that hard to find a buyer to take on a year of Eric Comrie this summer. Yeah. This is just hypothetical shitballing. Well, this is probably never going to happen, but if it were, I think you could find somebody who's, hard up for an NHL backup who can, swallow the $1.8 million Eric Comrie, not even 30 years old pill. Yeah. There are worse options out there on the free market that will probably play worse. But again, if you have like a more legitimate NHL starter, like, Comrie's getting like 20, 25 starts max, if it's, but that's all.
So you're essentially, you're trading Timo Meier for youth. You're not trading for, you're trading him for guys that are going to help you in the long run for San Jose. So you look up and down their roster offensively. Currently on their roster right now, you have guys like Jesper Bratt, Nico Hischier, Dawson Mercer. When you're talking youth, Miles Wood.
Jack Hughes, baby, 21.
Zach,
$8 million. Baby.
Yep.
So good.
Yep.
Dumb how good he is.
And you look, Dougie Hamilton, who signed a huge deal with them in the offseason. Who is coming off that roster? And you imagine that the players that are coming off, moving away from New Jersey are probably not on their active roster.
Well, I feel like a guy like Tomas Tatar will probably not be back next year.
No, they don't want Thomas Tatar.
They'd be fucking stupid not to re-sign Jesper Bratt, though. He's a pending RFA this summer.
Nico Heishire's having a great year, 55 points in 58 games. He's not going anywhere.
If you could find somebody willing to, maybe you can get a nicer pick out of it if San Jose is willing to swallow Andre Palat with some of that cap space they might have.
I don't think they want to I don't think they want to move away from Andre Palat, though, only because he's a bona fide playoff performer. I understand it comes with a price tag, but that guy performs in the playoffs.
Yeah. Some of these, I feel like Dawson Mercer, maybe even Sharon Govich might be guys that they're willing to hang on to. Miles Wood, more likely than not, but like some of the older guys like Eric Halla, Tomas Tatar, Zetterlund, McLeod, they're not bad. They're just, it's kind of like that middle set thing where they're not bad. They just might not be good enough.
Yeah.
But again, if you have guys like Heischer, Hughes, Palat, and Meyer signed for the next forever.
So
4 or 5 years. Unreal.
Here are their top 10 prospects in the pipeline. Luke Hughes, I don't think he's going anywhere. He's an untouchable for me. That guy's
absolutely
Baker watch.
Yeah,
he's not going anywhere.
But
after that, you got Alexander Holtz. That's a guy who I could see. 2020 first overall, 7th overall pick. That's a guy that could be on his way back to San Jose, 100%. Simon Nemec, right-handed defenseman.
Simone Nemec, he's definitely. He was the 2nd overall pick last year.
I don't know if he's moving though. He's 18.
Yeah, he's 18, but right-handed defensemen are always a coveted thing. So if there's one that you can give up, ideally, they don't have to part with that one because I do think that he's got a pretty nice floor, pretty nice ceiling of how good he's going to be.
It could be the next guy on this list, Seamus Casey, or another right-handed defenseman out of Michigan, teammate to Portillo and Luke. Second round pick, 46 overall in last year's draft. That's a guy that I think definitely could be on the move for them. After that, you have Arseny Gritsik. He plays out of the KHL, 21 years old. And then after that, Chase Stillman out of Peterborough in the O, 19-year-old kid. Nolan Foote, 2019 first-round pick in the 27th overall. He was originally drafted by Tampa Bay and then dealt to the New Jersey Devils in what looks like and was acquired in the Blake Coleman trade. So again, hard to believe that he'd be heading elsewhere. That'd be a guy too. That could be part of the deal too. Nolan Foote for sure. Nico Dawes, goaltender. Maybe for sure.
Yeah, that Akira Schmidt has been called up in emergency situations, and honestly, just based on his 9 starts this year, a 2.24 goals against average and a 9.19 save percentage. That's again, very small sample size, but a respectable numbers for such small sample size. Per Pierre LeBrun, there is no Meyer contract extension as part of this deal. The Devils became comfortable doing the trade without having him signed to an extension as part of it. So his future is open-ended. So, the Devils aren't on the hook for a $10 million offer. So it's going to be an interesting experiment. If Timo Meyer becomes a postseason hero, maybe that's a much different conversation.
They're signing him. There's no way whatever they're about to give up, there's no way they're not signing him.
I mean, again, we'll just have to wait and see what the return is, but yeah, I mean, they're definitely gonna have to give up a lot.
Yeah. Well, in a group chat right now, his wins against replacement, his WAR stat was just posted. 97% wins against replacement for Timo Meier. And my buddy goes, whatever New Jersey gave up, it wasn't enough. Shout out to Anthony Z, Tony. Thanks for posting that in the chat. Yeah, definitely not going to be enough. But again, it's a big price tag for any team to pay. You're probably in a long-term deal. Maybe you're not paying $10 million, but you're probably paying between 8 and 9, 100%, for that guy for the next, I'm assuming 7 to 8 years. I don't know. There's a lot that could be going the other way as we sit here and wait for what the what the return is.
Absolutely.
But again, that type of wins against replacement. Again, I know we're not a big analytics show, but that's unheard of. That's insane.
Yeah, that can be a series changer right there, even against a locked and loaded New York Rangers team who refuses to lose. Yeah, that's going to be if the standings stay the way they are, and that's the first round matchup, New Jersey versus the Rangers is going to be must watch TV right there.
Yep.
I don't care who you are.
Yeah, I know. We're gonna stick here with you, assuming that this return
comes through in the not so distant future.
In a reasonable amount of time. We're not waiting until midnight. We're gonna stick right here with you until we know exactly what the return is for the San Jose Sharks. Again, you have whatever the Sabres are gonna have to do here. I'm sorry, what the New Jersey Devils are gonna have to give up in order to acquire Timo Meier, a guy who has been crazy coveted at this year's deadline.
For good reason.
Yeah, he got 97% wins against replacement. That's insane.
I'm assuming that 3% is anytime they played the Oilers and Connor McDavid was just Connor McDavid.
Yeah, right.
I'm assuming that's the 3% that you lose.
You're just not going to you're not going to outperform Connor McDavid on a nightly basis. That's just not happening.
Yeah, Connor, I'm convinced that he just has like nitrous in his fucking skates and just like hits the nos, and it's just like, oh, cool, I'm just skating 30 miles an hour. Deal with it.
Yep. So, but now that he is, as it looks, off the books, now we move our attention to other players on everybody's trade bait list. Again, we mentioned a lot of names before. But Steve, you want to pull something up for us real quick, and we'll just see what other options might be available for Buffalo?
Sure. What are you looking for?
Just obviously, whatever after Timo Meier, what's the next best option after guys like Brock Besser and of course.
Let's take a gander.
Take a gander. While he's doing that, remember, it was brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case over on George Urban Boulevard. Make sure you get to Outlet Liquor for all your Sabres game day, as like today, the matinee game or game night needs.
Well, again, everybody's got their different opinions here, but per the hockey writers, Bo Horvat was number 1 on the list, just given that he wasn't quite as expensive. Timo Meier is about to get crossed off. Jacob Chikrin, obvious. Number 4, Brock Besser, right wing. He hasn't quite asked for a trade out of Vancouver, but it's the writing's on the wall. Number 5, still Patrick Kane, right wing. Number 7, a familiar name, Jake McCabe.
I would not hate Jake McCabe coming back to Buffalo. I really wouldn't.
I never had a bad thing to say about Jake. I like Jake McCabe. I think of all of the players who have been burned and left, he might be one of the few that might be willing to come back. It's like, bro, you don't have to carry Risto. We promise you don't have to carry Risto. Please come back. You get to play with like Owen Power or something. Like
he went from one team that was in desperate need of a rebuild to another team that was in desperate need of a rebuild. You know what I mean? Like it went. Mm-hmm. It was a no-win situation here in Buffalo at the time, and it was a no-win situation in Chicago.
Yeah. Number 8, obviously O'Reilly's been dealt. Ivan Barbashev's already been dealt. This list is from about 3
People
days
just
ago.
keep making Vegas a better hockey team, and I don't understand why they do it.
Yeah,
It drives me nuts.
So we got Vladislav Gavrikov. I just think Columbus is asking too much for this guy. I just don't think. It sounds like they're looking like they want first round picks for a guy who plays in their top pair, but probably would be better served as a second or third pairing shutdown dude.
Yep.
I don't know, but I mean, if we could get him for a song, sure. I mean, that would shore up that left-hand side for sure. If he's like the left-hand pairing to Joker, and we can find somebody else for the second pair with power, like a permanent fixture. 11, Sam Lafferty, left.
I like Sam Lafferty. Plays a tough game.
Yeah. Real reasonable cap hit. Just a good depth guy to think about. Matthias Ekholm. Matthias Ekholm.
I remember I was big on him when he was made available by Nashville the first time around. I was big on him back home.
Yeah, I got to look at that cap hit because I feel like that's the biggest question. One, ultimately it's the age. He's 32 and you got 3 more years after this one at 6.25. So
they would have to retain. They would have to retain quite a bit of that.
And as of right now, it does not appear they are retaining salary on anybody. So they absolutely have the capacity to do that. But again, if you can get Dante Fabro for cheaper, if it's pretty clear that he's not going to sign again with Nashville, because right now he's 2.4, and then you have his rights for next year, and he fills that need on the right hand side. Whereas, Ekholm's a big fucking boy. He's a big boy. We do like big boys from Sweden on that blue line, but I don't know. I'm still liking the youth culture going on around here, and 6-foot Canadian right-handed shot Dante Fabro. I don't know, just starting to make more sense to me the more I look at it. Tarasenko obviously got dealt. Erik Karlsson. The smoke has been around the Oilers the whole time. I could still see them doing it. It would have to take a lot of finagling to make happen, but I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. And I think that's another team that's always like, they're always trying to make a big move, like they're trying to make it happen, and that would probably be one of the bigger moves they've made in recent years if they acquired somebody like Erik Karlsson. But the problem with that is, you got to get that third team involved to retain salary for that kind of deal. But then also, some people have made the criticism that like maybe what he brings to the table is just similar enough to what a guy like Tyson Barrie brings to the table that is it truly worth putting all this effort in to do it. Maybe he might be suited for a different team better. John Klingberg, he's having a dog shit season with Anaheim, and that contract is rough. So I would honestly put the next.
I wasn't even huge on Klingberg the first time around. He was available.
Yeah, he was definitely available, and I was like, I don't know. It'd have to be the right amount of money.
He's up there in age too, right? Not up there, but
yeah, he's getting up there a ways. But yeah, they signed him for a single year. He's exactly 30 years old at $7 million, and going to be a UFA at the end of the year. But yeah, he is. I think I saw somebody share that Jay Fresh card from earlier, like mid-season, and it was like, everything was in the deep red. But that said, I would probably put the next guy on the list much higher than him. Shane Gostisbehere, he plays that game that we kind of hoped that Lyubushkin was going to play, but every single time that Lyubushkin throws a big time hit, it seems like he misses a couple weeks after the fact. But we know that Shane Gostisbehere can throw his body around.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of dude that if Shane Gostisbehere is the guy standing next to Owen Power, and Owen Power wants to wheel and deal, and you want to do you want to try to get smart with Owen Power, Ghost Bear is not afraid to throw him down if he's got to. That could be an interesting choice. But, I think Arizona's made it emphatically clear that they are real good at stockpile, trying to get as many picks as humanly possible. So they might even have a fairly high price tag on that as well. So,
Yeah.
Interesting. Matt Dumba, defenseman. I've made the joke at least 5 times. Middlestat for Dumba, 1-for-1. Just fucking move on. Let's go. Send Middlestat back to Minnesota. Let him go back home. Bring Matt Dumba in. But I don't know. Tough to say. We'll see what happens. James Van Riemsdyk from the JVR from the Philadelphia Flyers. I wouldn't hate it.
I mean, who would? I mean, again, he's a red.
I think James Van Riemsdyk is what people think Kane will be, but what he actually will be, but what he actually should be in that role.
I think Kane is really turning it on right now. I think he's been kind of in cruise control. He's been in kind of cruise control for a while. So honestly, I think now that he's turning it on, it's for show. I think he's had the ability to do this all season. He's just been kind of mentally checked out for a minute. So now that he realized, teams are kind of questioning his ability right now. Is he really in it? Is this such a down year? What's going on there in Chicago? He's turned it on, and I think that he's whoever gets him, they're getting one of the best playoff performers of the last 10 years. And they're getting a bona fide goal scorer who's going to slot in your first power play unit. He's going to help immediately. He's going to drive play. He's going to do everything right. And in a new, fresh environment, a positive environment, which is, I think, what he needs right now.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think Kane is going to thrive wherever he goes, and I think it's pretty obvious where he's going to go. But, yeah, I mean,
Well, they said the work. It's in the works. It's totally expected he's going to be a Ranger.
Yeah, it's all but a done deal. We just have to see what happens when the smoke clears.
Yeah.
But I mean, I spent, for everybody who's watched me more than once here, I lived in Philly for 7 years. I've seen a big handful of Flyers games, and obviously JVR has been playing at almost every last one of them. And that is a hardworking dude. I mean, he's one of those. He's one of those kind of guys in that same ilk as a guy like Tuch. He doesn't ever stop working. And I mean, especially on the team that he's playing on right now, the situation in Philly is bleak. We talked about the letter that Duane wrote to the fans mid-season. Yep. And then John Tortorella has to write a letter to the fans and say, look, guys, it's going to be bad and it's going to get worse.
Yep.
And, as of right now, JVR is still standing by his team. He's put, and even at 33 in a lesser role, 23 points in 40 games. He looks like he's missed some time, a little kind of day-to-day, week-to-week stuff. But, I mean, he's never not been a hardworking dude. I mean, yeah, last season looks like it was truly rough. Plus minus is a very good stat, but minus 33, that's pretty eyebrow raising. But yeah, I mean, he's a hardworking guy. I think if you've been thinking about Kane but don't want to get 2 teams involved to retain 75% of the salary, maybe you just see if Philly's willing to retain 50% of JBR's $7 million and make that work instead. Next on that list is Max Domi. I never know what to think of him. He seems like he's a fairly decent player, but he's been such a suitcase his whole career. There's got to be something about what he's bringing to the team behind the scenes that we're just not seeing, that he just hasn't seemed to find a home. He just hasn't seemed to have found a home anywhere. Yeah. Seems like the closest he got was his time spent in Chicago. He was, being utilized in a better role, and it seemed to be like he was doing well, but obviously he's not getting any younger. He's 27 now, simple $3 million deal, UFA this summer. He's got to find a permanent home sooner or later. But yeah, this will be. I
guess Wikipedia already has him listed as a devil.
Yeah, this will be. Oh, Timo Meier, yeah.
Yeah.
This will be if he gets traded at the deadline or this summer, this will be his 6th team since joining the league in 2015-16.
So I just don't think that Luke Hughes is available. I don't think they're touching Nico Heishier. But guys like Alexander Hulls, I think they're definitely in play here. Seamus Casey, I think, is definitely in play. Obviously, any draft pick that San Jose might want, and you'd imagine their first this year, maybe even next year, might be in play. That's the type of demand, in my opinion. Return Timo Meier is gonna demand. Whatever his contract, his cap hit might be, 100%. So Adrian Dater also reports out of Colorado that the Avs might be kicking tires on Jonathan Klingberg. What a name to! I know we just talked about him as kind of an aging guy, but that'd be a great name for them to add at the deadline. To their already stacked team. Adding Sean Klingberg.
Yeah, when you're a team that just won a cup, no matter who you're adding it to a winning formula. So unless they're truly just an irredeemably terrible player, it's gonna find a way to work. But let's be serious. They've got Cale Makar, they've got Devon Taves, they've got Gerard, who's playing good hockey. Curtis McDermott has been doing good in his limited role. Bowen Byram is developing well. Even Josh Manson has thrived a little bit in his role, as their aging guy, to the point that I'm honestly not quite sure if they really need it. But if they want to kick the tires on it, Anaheim's willing to retain on that $7 million because they have $362,000 in cap space. So somebody's retaining something, and somebody else is moving as a result of this deal. The question is just who, and maybe it's Evan Rodriguez. Tough to say. I don't know. If I were running the Avalanche, I wouldn't make that deal. But then again, I'm not running the Avalanche.
Matt Larkin from Daily Faceoff in the last month. Bo Horvat, Vlad Tarasenko, Ryan O'Reilly, and Timo Meier have all moved from the Western to the Eastern Conference. That's scary, especially for any team in the East to add at least 3 of those 4 names to already stacked lineups. O'Reilly, granted, it started off pretty good for him, but there's some left to be desired there. Maybe still some question marks compared to the season he's had. Will he still continue? I'm not saying he can't, but I would say I would trust more that the other 3 names would probably contribute more to their new teams than O'Reilly. But that is a scary thing for any team in the East.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt. It's just getting offensively stacked. And I think it's ultimately because, the wild card spots have been wide open, but the teams that are stacking up are the teams that want to secure their position. They want to make sure they get that home ice. And it just kind of seems like nobody wants to face off against the Boston Bruins in the first round. Yep. So everybody's trying to make sure, move heaven and earth to make sure that doesn't happen if they can help it. Or, but yeah, the last couple of names on this list are names that we feel like we see every year. Nick Bustad out of Arizona, nice depth 4-line C. Luke Shen, Anthony Duclair, Gustav Nyquist, Jesse Puljujarvi, and the last name on the list is Jacob Vrana, who of course has been, in and out of the lineup. He started half the year, in the NHLPA program, Players Assistance Program, working on getting clean. He came back around wintertime. Did a little conditioning stint in the AHL, came back up to the NHL for a bit, went back down to the AHL. So I don't know, something about being in Detroit is not making him a happy guy.
Yep.
Clearly he needs to get out. And, I think there still might be some upside to his game. He's only 26. He could absolutely turn it around. But I can definitely see some people, feeling kind of buyer beware about that with an additional 5.25 to pay after this year. I feel like you might have to twist Steve Yzerman's arm to make him retain on anybody for any reason. So
it's just, the Red Wings are in a funny spot, right? You got Dylan Larkin, who is their captain, and if there's any guy I think that you bring back, regardless of where they are in their career, it's Dylan Larkin, right? Pay him what he wants, and it's kind of surprising to me that a guy who is so all in on the Detroit Red Wings hasn't been signed yet. That's Alex Tuch's contract being up at the end of this season and us saying, nah, we're good. Like that to me would be bananas.
Insane.
But with that being said, if he is available and he is willing to resign, I don't care what assets it costs. I want Dylan Larkin on my hockey team.
Yeah, I mean he's a fantastic player. Clearly a good locker room guy. Clearly knows how to help build a culture. A positive culture, especially for a team that's similarly to us been rebuilding and trying to, make a name for themselves and reestablish that legitimacy league wide. And obviously a lot of that has to do with some of the moves that Yzerman's made, but obviously, GMs are just GMs are moving names, but ultimately the players are the ones getting the work done on the ice where it matters.
Mm-hmm.
Dylan Larkin, he's a good guy. But yeah, it's just going to be an interesting conversation to see how that shakes out. I feel like eventually they might soften. I really can't see them just moving on from him completely. I mean, he's your freaking team captain, has been for what feels like a lifetime. Like, it would just be a foolish thing to do to just let this man go.
Yeah. I'm just refreshing Twitter trying to find out from Sabres Buzz. Timo Meyer will reunite with Swiss brothers Nico Heischier and Jonas Siegenthaler. Devils now a serious logjam at right wing with Timo, Mercer, Bratt, Bofquist, Bastian, Kevin Goget, Alexander Holz now because he is buried. I think Holz is part of the deal. If I'm going to add a player in their currently in their pipeline that's part of this deal, it's Alexander Holz, without a doubt.
Yeah, Holtz is I watch a lot of Amherst, so I watch them play the Utica Comets quite a bit. Holtz is he's a dynamic guy. He knows how to get where he needs to be. He's got speed, he's got skill, he's got good hands. He's just he's just still young, so he hasn't been he's had a few looks in the NHL this year, obviously. He just hasn't quite been able to put it together. I don't think they're giving him the same kind of treatment as they are a guy with Peterka and Quinn. Although last year points wise, he was close to that conversation with those two dudes.
Yep.
So it's not that he doesn't have the skill set. It's just I just don't think with New Jersey where they are positionally and just as an organization, I think that they want to devote one of their 12 coveted forward spots to a guy who, needs that kind of time to cook and make those mistakes. I think they just don't want to give him that spot. And ultimately, you got to go to a team that's going to give you that opportunity. You got to have a season or two where you fuck up, you fail, you make some boneheaded plays, and you learn from them. You take some hard hits, you cause a defensive blunder that ends in an embarrassing goal against, and you got to learn from it. You got to get mad. You got to, you don't learn unless you fuck up. And I don't think he's been I don't think he's had enough of a look in the NHL to fuck up with the Devils. So I think ultimately with the Sharks team that's rebuilding as hard as it is, I think he would absolutely get the ice time that he needs to become whoever he's ultimately going to become.
Yeah.
So I like Holt's game. He's a good kid. I think they'd be getting a good player out of him.
Yeah, but again, you just adding more to the youth, and maybe he is a guy that has not been in the lineup just because it isn't because he isn't ready, but it's because they're just so jammed up in their own lineup. Maybe he is a guy that could slide right into this lineup. You don't know that. I think that they could really use some help on the wing on that second line. As much as I like the ceiling of a Jack Quinn or a JJ Peterka, I don't think that they're consistently good enough right now to be on both sides of Dylan Cozens. It's just very streaky. Not saying Alexander Holtz is that guy, but that's if I'm improving my team and it's nothing to do with that top line, when Alex Tuch comes back, but you really got to find a solution on that second line. I think you need to add toughness to your bottoms, to your team, just overall, a big bodied guy, much like, maybe it's Boone, guys like Boone Jenner, or, you're not asking for a Matthew Tkachuk type of player, but a guy who can play with some snarl and is big and add some toughness to your team because, and I've been saying it for 2 weeks now, once you get to the playoffs, which they are in a playoff spot now, not comfortably, but they're in the playoff spot, the brand of hockey is going to dramatically change. hitting becomes so much more part of it. You know, your ability to finish plays like Krebs did the other day in the corner. You know, he took a hit to make a play. You got to be able to take a beating in the playoffs. You know, you're not going to be able to finish a shift, you know, and, you know, be hesitant and skate away from a hit to make, you know, I mean, like much like we've seen in the past on these past Sabres teams. Like, you got to have guys in your team that are going to make other teams fear going into the puck corner to get a puck. And that's where I'd want to add. And again, a defenseman, you know, there's not a long list. There's a list of things that this team needs. But those three things in particular, I think you need desperately. Hopefully maybe two birds, one stone. You find a big, tough player to play on your second line if it's not a bottom six guy, and you find a defenseman to finally play with Owen Power, and you could reunite Dahlin and Samuelsson. But depth-wise, defensively, they're so thin, you have to add a defenseman.
Yeah, and I don't know, man. Maybe there's a deal with the Capitals where we can send Jacob Bryson back because he has another year of term just by virtue of he's signed next year. You don't have to worry about it because, again, they literally, and I truly mean literally, have no one on their blue line next year, which is insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I just looked through the New Jersey Devils thing, and aside from the three big names with multiple years of term, like almost every other forward on their core is like UFA, RFA at the end of this year. You know, Jesper Bratt, Miles Wood, Eric Hall, like all these guys.
Miles Wood.
Like 10 dudes. Just a big red or blue brick next to their term.
I'm just I want to stick with this until we know what the return is. Still waiting. It is my understanding. This is from EJ Raddick. Dawson Mercer will not be a part of any deal having to do with Timo Meier.
That's huge.
So Dawson Mercer is not part of the deal.
Or so we're led to believe. Yeah, I mean,
we're led to believe.
Yeah, I mean, Dawson Mercer is a big part of that youth core. Like he's he's one of those guys getting the look you kind of hope what guy with Holtz would get, but you know, when Mercer got those looks, he made the most of it, and he got an opportunity to stick around.
Yeah,
and he can be a difference maker. He can be one of those guys that gets that depth scoring that you're not expecting to get. When a guy like Hughes or Hischier is a little bit quieter, kind of reserving their energy, because I feel like both of those guys, and again, I do watch a lot of Devils hockey with my brother because that's his team. It seems like Hischier and Hughes are guys that really know how to, like McDavid, they're guys that really know how to turn it on for that final frame. So if they're down by a couple, give Hughes enough time to cook, he's going to find a way to make it happen. Whether it's some beautiful ripper from the dots, or if he's just going to do that ugly work in front of the net and jam one home, after a bunch of chaos ensues. Like, Jack Hughes can make it happen. So, yeah, I mean, Dawson Mercer, I've seen him do a lot of good work. So, if they can hang on to him, that's pretty remarkable, honestly. So, keeping a guy like Mercer and Bratt in the mix, like that's good stuff. I'm really looking forward to seeing. Like, they teased this about a half hour ago. I just want to see what the heck the freaking return is.
Let's get us on the road. People have things to do. It's Sunday. Come on. But no, whatever it is, man, like I said, it's going to be a haul. And if Dawson Mercer, I expected Dawson Mercer not to be a part of it, honestly. Like, he's a pretty high-end prospect for them that they covet quite a bit. I didn't really expect him to be part of it.
Cricket just chirped Pierre LeBrun's tweet. Geez, what's the return already? This is like ordering a pizza and waiting for it to arrive.
It is.
It really. Like, I know Pierre LeBrun doesn't have any control on getting the full details, but fuck. Like, don't get us all stoked 40 minutes ago. Like, I just want to know.
Yeah, at least
I'm sure everyone in New Jersey wants to know.
At least have an idea of what the return is before you go out and break the internet with this tweet. Like, come on, Elliot. Or Pierre, both of them for that matter.
Okay. Dave Pagnotta, I believe another Sharks player is a part of the deal with Meier going to New Jersey.
Probably for salary reasons.
Yeah, probably.
Could you imagine if it was a package deal, Carlson?
Yo, everyone would everyone would lose their fucking
Sorry,
mind.
Rangers fans. There's no way you're beating that Devils team. Rangers.
Power play one quarterback. Power play one quarterback by Dougie Hamilton. Power play two quarterback by Eric fucking Carlson.
You'd have them both back there. You wouldn't have one. You'd have both.
Oh my God. Yo, that would be ignorant. That would be irresponsible. That would break the entire Eastern Conference.
Yes. It's just friggin'
that would be so dumb. Oh my God, I would love it though. That would be fucking hilarious. If they were just like, oh yeah, we're just waiting for Arizona to get off the phone so we can make sure that the salary on both those guys are retained before they come here.
Steve Dangle, maybe the trade call is on Zoom and they can't figure out how to unmute.
Oh, fuck.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pierre. You're just trying to do your job.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. Oh, my God. That's great.
Man.
Oh, my God. Man, so another player coming back, then, well, who's been on the block for them? It'd have to be a rostered player, right?
Other than Eric Carlson, I'm trying to think of like who's really like in the mix. Yeah, there.
Like who could the other rostered player be? Like who is it?
Trying to see what like makes sense, because like, so right now the Sharks barely have any cap space at all. They will move $6 million.
Yeah.
So we got to do some like deductive math here, right? Like we got to look at
you, bud. I'm not in the mood to do math at all.
All right. Well, we got to think about who might potentially be coming as like rostered players from New Jersey, because it has to be a combination of players over $6 million if they have to move another guy, is all I'm saying. So like, if Holtz is just going down to the AHL with his entry-level deal, and like Seamus Casey hasn't even been signed yet, or if it does happen to be Simone Nemec or something like that, those are AHL things. Those aren't really going to affect shit. But the theory is that if Timo Meier and another player have to get moved, then there's enough roster players here that's going to equal more than $6 million. So maybe they found a way to get rid of. I mean, it could honestly either be Eric Haula or Tomas Tatar, because they will have a vacancy in that on the left wing as a result of that. I mean, if they can find a way to move Tomas Tatar at 4.5 and then, I don't know, scoop up like a Sharangovich and maybe one other dude, I don't know. It's interesting. So, yeah, I mean, the real question is who's coming off New Jersey that necessitates that, they got to move somebody else. And maybe they're moving a guy like, maybe it's like Nico Sturm, like a nice fourth line center, something like that, like $2 million, not a lot of risk. Could be a depth. Imagine if Oscar Lindblom, after getting snubbed out of Philly, going out to the Sharks and then comes back to play for Jersey.
I know.
Yo, I would love that. That would make me so happy. But I mean, I think New Jersey, much like Buffalo, is also on the youth tip. So my guess is that they're moving Timo Meier and maybe a guy like Nico Sturm, like another young-ish guy to make space. So that's $8 million. So, Tomas Tatar 4.5. Maybe they're also scooping up Miles Wood, because that's another 3.2. That would be about the 7.75. And then, that plus Alexander Holtz coming up. That's about 8 and 8. Yeah. And then a hella fucking pile of picks. Yeah. That would be cool.
Yep. So I gotta step away for one moment, Steve. If you want to keep him entertained, let's go let the dog in real quick. Obviously, in a normal episode of I'll Hang Up and Listen, we're not on for over an hour and a half. So give me one moment, guys. I'll be right back. Producer Steve will keep you entertained.
Yeah, by all means, chime in with a comment or something. We can spitball together here. But let's take a gander. Let's keep refreshing Twitter, see if anything comes on through here about this Timo Meier trade. God, I'm just excited for my little brother, to be completely honest with you. You know, he's again, huge Devils fan, has been his whole life. You know, looking like it's just going to be a big time thing. Nope, just graphics saying it's happening, it's being announced, but just give me actual details. Okay, well, this is from ESPN.com. Yeah, no, they're still not giving us any actual return. I was hoping when I saw an article from ESPN that there might be a legitimate return coming through, but as of right now, still nothing. Just, God. Yeah, it's just so much speculation. I just want to see what's going to finally happen out here.
Yeah, we keep refreshing the feed here. We're trying to, just searching his name.
Timo Meyer trade, latest tab, just refreshing. Yeah, mostly it's just memes, but eventually it's going to be legitimate information.
From Shark City Hockey, 31 seconds ago, the Sharks are retaining half of Timo Meyer's salary this season. So I mean
this is just some guy. So I don't know how.
Now everybody's got a blue check mark, so you have no idea who's like reliable and who isn't.
This would
now
be.
You just have to say his handle on a fucking live stream.
Yeah, I'm not going to say this guy's handle, but this is a package that almost makes sense to me. Confirm that Timo Meyer and Kevin LeBlanc for Alex Holl, Simone Nemec, Sharon Govich, a 2023 first, 2024 second, and third.
Where are you seeing this?
I'm just Timo Meyer trade latest, posted a minute ago. And he prefaces it with, as someone who has been on both ESPN and the NHL Network broadcast, I can't confirm. But again, that's just speculation. But that wouldn't be Adam Wild. Sources saying hockey Twitter would love to know the entirety of the Timo Meyer trade.
Yeah, right.
It's fun. We all want to know.
It's fun though, because people want to know. Like every time I tweet it out, our live views jump up from like 30 to 150 immediately. So this has been fun, man. Like it's cool to be live when something like this happens.
Yeah, I mean, freaking wild. But yeah, I mean, if again, absolutely unverified, not even a little bit confirmed. Timo Meyer, Kevin LeBlanc, Alex Holtz, Simone Nemec, first round right-hand defenseman pick, Igor Sharangovich, good third, fourth line guy. First, a second, a third. That could be big if that's true. Again, I'm going to wait until I see it from a more legitimate source. And I swear, if somebody is out there doing the fake Elliot Friedman account today, you're a bad person. Stop. Save that for Friday. You're a bad man. You need to cut that out. You're going to get so many people retweeting fake information that Timo Meyer was traded for future considerations.
Oh, that'd be great. It'd be great. So Dawson Mercer, not part of it. You're hearing that the other player going back, via your Twitter feed is LeBlanc. It could be LeBlanc as the other player going back. Obviously a known player in that lineup. People know who he is. Yeah. Not a bad hockey player at all. But
no, not at all.
I mean, yeah, I would think that normally a player of Timo Meyer's caliber in a trade like this, you're either going there alone or you're going there with a cap dump. What's LeBlanc's cap hit?
LeBlanc's cap hit right now is 4.725 this year and next, and then he's a UFA in 24-25. So only year or two, but that would take which, maybe they're trying to acquire, maybe they're trying to get some more stuff, or maybe they just want space to be able to retain salary for someone in exchange for more picks. But Sharon Govich, as far as like legitimate cap hit, if again, just speculating, he's only $2 million. Holtz is probably going down to the AHL, so that doesn't even count against you. Simone Nemec is also AHL. That doesn't really count against you. So, yeah, realistically, they will have spent maybe 4 of that $11 million. So there'd still be $7 million sitting around.
Yeah.
Waiting to do – maybe they're the third team that helps retain they got to –
it's another thing, too. There could be a third team involved here. There could be a third team broker. We don't know.
There could be.
Maybe that's why Buffalo was calling earlier. Maybe they want to be the broker here. Maybe they want to get in on the phone.
Give us a fucking pick. I'll take it.
Yeah. So, Kevin LeBlanc this season, 25 points for 51 games played. Obviously, he's a half a point per game player over the course of his career. Last season, only playing 21 games. He had 6 points in 21 games. Career year was in 2019, 56 points in 82 games played. Solid second line guy, maybe in your third line. Good depth guy. And he's only 27 years old. So there's definitely, especially being added to a lineup like New Jersey, there's definitely room for him to perform at a much higher level than what he is right now. But we'll see. Again, I think, what is this return?
Seriously. Trying to see.
This is getting wild.
Seriously. Again, I just don't know what's going on with this delay. Again, it's been an hour at this point. But yeah. So as of the last game they played, Sharon Govich was the second line left winger next to Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt. So, they could potentially slot they're probably going to slot Timo Meier in Tatar's spot, bump Tatar down to the second line with Hughes and Bratt. So the first line is Timo Meier, Nico Hischier, Dawson Mercer.
Agreed. So right now your untouchables are this. Dawson Mercer is untouchable. Right? Yeah. He's not going anywhere. Nico Hischier, untouchable.
Jack Hughes, unfucking touchable. Palat, likely untouchable. Bratt, you'd be stupid to touch.
Jesper Bratt, I think that unless there is just a big hang up on them signing him, I think that's the only way he's going back in this deal, right? If they just can't get something figured out for him, which also, if you are adding that massive cap hit to your roster, maybe he is the guy going back.
It is possible. It's interesting to say. It's starting to get dark enough to the point that I should turn on a light in my room.
Yeah, we're definitely.
I was relying on the sun, and now it's starting to go down.
This is not an episode of Two Goalies One Mic, people. This is still I'll hang up and listen. We're an hour and 43 minutes into this. Still waiting on the
long
that happened live while we were giving our post game reaction to today's Sabres 7.
Okay. Hold on.
We got something.
Chris Johnston reports as of 55 seconds ago that the Sharks are retaining 50% of
So we know that.
Salary.
So the things that we know, Sharks retaining 50%.
Yes.
Right.
Dawson Mercer is not a part of the equation.
Not part of the deal. We know
there is a second rostered player from the Sharks is going to the Devils.
Allegedly, it could be Kevin LeBlanc.
Allegedly.
So that's what we know right now, or potentially know. Again, I think Alexander Holtz has to be part of this deal.
Our buddy here in the comments, Keeper Chronicles, that Holtz and William Eklund do have a connection to one another. So getting those two back together in the AHL pipeline could be very beneficial for both of their development. So I feel like Holtz is a guy that they're very clearly targeting.
Feel very, very, very positive, confident that Alexander Holtz is going back to San Jose. He's a guy that we've stated before that has been buried in that pipeline, and they have such a wealth of riches on the right wing. So it's difficult to say that he isn't part of that deal. God, just give us something.
This guy's trying to get shit on. This trade is 1-for-1. Timo Meier for Jack Hughes. Get the fuck out of here.
I saw that one earlier.
Man.
Man.
Well, here's another unconfirmed, but expected trade to look like. Timo Meier at 50 retained and LeBlanc in exchange for Andreas Janssen, Arseny Gritsuk, Seamus Casey, first, second, third. So the first, second, third bid is looking pretty. The second and the thirds are in 2024, but this year's first, obviously. No Holtz on that list, but same basic return coming from San Jose in that theorized. Nope. This is coming from a guy who claims to be the smartest human alive. I'm not even going to read that one out loud.
Yeah. Big brain. He's got a big brain. Massive brain.
Biggest brain you've ever seen. You've never seen
a big brain. It's a glorious brain.
You've never seen a brain like this.
Never seen a brain like this.
What a fucking.
I love it. Still,
man. Clown. Oh man. Jeez Louise.
Yeah, you get all these literally unconfirmed accounts claiming that they know what's going on with Timo Meier, and this is getting old. Pull up Timo's stats this season.
Oh yeah, let's just do that for fun. Oh well, I tried to load the page and like a whole computer shut down because he's just so fucking good. But 57 games, 31 goals, 21 assists, 52 points, so nearly a point per game pace with the San Jose Sharks. Pretty standard 25 penalty minutes, a couple trips here and there. What are you going to do? Minus 19. You're going to be minus 19 on a team like the San Jose Sharks this year. I don't think if I went through every single one of these people, and I think we have the time to do it, I don't think a single one of them would be a positive on the plus-minus scale. But no, Timo Meier is still nearly a point per game pace guy.
I mean, he's going to be a still doing scorer for a long time. I mean, probably 50 at some point. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's just that skilled of a hockey player, just that dominant.
This is his third season at 30-plus goals. The first one was 2018-2019, where he had 66 and 78. Last year, he had 35 goals, 76 points in 77 games, so just shy of a point per game. And this year, it's 31 and 57. So definitely has plenty of time to exceed that record, which, I mean, if he's coming to New Jersey, I think is almost a certainty. I think he'd be terrified if he doesn't score 4 goals in 6 weeks. Playing on a wing with Jack Hughes and Jesper Bratt, I think that would be a cause for concern if that is ultimately what goes down.
Yeah, and tweeting out right now, it's waiting for this Timo Meier return is like waiting for your pizza rolls to be done in the microwave.
Good Lord.
This is unbearable. Like, get your shit together, analysts.
You know what this is? This is when you finally work up the nerve to shoot your shot, ask that girl out, but she doesn't have reads receipts, so you just send it, and you just sit there, and you wait, and you double and triple and quadruple check that text. And it's like, did I spell that word wrong? I tried to use a big word because I wanted to sound like smart and stuff. And then you just kind of stew and fester, and you agonize over it. And you're just waiting for her to say, listen, ... And then you know how that story ends. Or, yeah, sure, that'd be great. And we all know that the answer is going to be, yeah, sure, that'd be great. But just fucking tell me already. Come on, man. Like, geez Louise. This is the calm before the storm. And
this is terrible.
So if he's getting traded today, will he be able to make the trek? Well, actually, yeah, no, he should, because if I'm not mistaken, New Jersey. When does New Jersey play again? They don't play today, obviously. They don't play tomorrow. They don't play Tuesday.
He would be in the lineup. He would absolutely be in the lineup.
Yeah, he would be in the lineup for their first game on Wednesday against the Avalanche.
Unless we're still waiting for the return by then.
We're still
waiting.
By then, we might know what the return is. But Timo Meier is expected to suit up against the Avalanche Wednesday night.
So just to recap for those that are just joining in, we just tweeted out the link just again now. What we know right now via EJ Radick. EJ Radick reports that Dawson Mercer will not be part of this trade. What we know that San Jose will be retaining half of Timo Meier's current contract. What we know, what we potentially know that maybe Kevin LeBlanc is part of the return. The second player that we know there is a second player involved going back to New Jersey. We've tweets about potentially it being Kevin LeBlanc. We also know that there is no new deal in place right now on New Jersey's end for Timo Meier in this trade. Like sometimes trades are conditioned upon a player, signing a new deal right away. Per Pierre LeBrun, there's no deal in place as of right now, but you'd have to imagine that there would be a deal, on the table here fairly soon for the return that this guy is going to demand from the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, yeah. Yep. So, we know what we know. There's been an awful lot of speculation, but every single proposed trade has just been a goodie bag of picks, developing players, couple roster guys. But yeah, ultimately we're not going to know until we finally know. Good Lord, they are really dragging this one out.
They are, man. I'm gonna give this till 6 o'clock. We will stay here with you till 6 o'clock. We're already touching an hour since this has been broadcast. I don't know.
Oh my God.
I can only keep doing this for so long, but we'll stay with you till at least 6 o'clock. Hopefully we get an idea of what this return is.
Okay.
Little bits and pieces are being tweeted out about what the return could be. We've heard there's a second player involved going back to New Jersey along with Timo Meier. We've heard that Dawson Mercer from the Devils is not involved in the trade. We're speculating on our own that maybe Jesper Bratt is part of the deal just because he has yet to sign an extension with the Devils. And you add that huge contract of Timo Meier into the mix, it might make it more difficult for them to sign in a long-term deal. But that's a speculation on our end. We do know that San Jose is retaining half of Meier's salary and that a contract has not been worked out between Meier and the Devils prior to this trade call being made.
The year is 2052. Chychrun is still waiting to be traded, and the rest of us are still waiting for Timo Meier trade details.
Yeah, this is unbearable.
Good Lord. Unbelievable.
Anyways, do anything fun this weekend, Steve?
Spent a lot of time in, hanging out with the girl, just, living it up, just nice, relaxing
weekend.
Ladies,
producer Steve is off the market officially.
Yeah, no longer a free agent.
Vegan, gone.
Yeah. And all three of you were super upset about that. But I do apologize humbly to the three of you who were kicking the tires on signing this whole fucking fifth liner to your roster. Oh boy.
Oh my God. What the hell is going on?
Stop, smartest human alive. You're clogging up my feed here, man.
Let's give the people some score updates while we're sitting here.
Absolutely. There's got to be something else going on other than just watching dust settle.
Yeah, literally. That's what we're doing right now. We'll give some score updates in the world of
I can go get some paint. Now. We can watch that dry real quick.
Yep. Winnipeg is losing to the Islanders 3-0 in the third period. That game's just all but over. Rangers are beating the Kings 1-0. Also a bummer for us, even though the Rangers are just expected to get better and probably pull away if and when they do acquire Pat Kane. And then Penguins are slated for 11 minutes from now. So hopefully the scoreboard watch gets a little bit better for us. Expect the Jets to lose here, which is
not great for us.
Not great for us with the Islanders being right on our heels. Or are they ahead of us in the standings?
They are ahead of us in the standings.
They are ahead of us. We're on their
but they do have 4 games more.
We do have 4 games in hand, yes.
Yeah. But Bo Horvat, unassisted goal to start things off. Bo Horvat's still doing all right without Matt Barzal around.
Cats has got to be excited with what's going on the island.
Dewey.
Oh, Dewey Crocs.
Official Scott Harrington and Timo.
What'd you say now?
Apparently, Keeper Chronicles here in the comments is saying official Scott Harrington and Timo.
Scott Harrington. So Scott Harrington is going back with Timo?
Yep, per Frank Celavarelli, sounds like Scott Harrington is going to the New Jersey Devils along with Timo Meier as part of the deal. And that is from, a trusted insider source.
That's from Ceravelli.
That's Frank Celavarelli, correct. Yep.
Now pull up Scott Harrington for us real quick.
All right, let's take a gander. All right, Scotty, where are you at? Scott Harrington, 29-year-old, left-handed defenseman making league minimum. So not a lot of extras coming off the books there. 1 goal, 6 assists, 7 points in 28 games. This looks like a depth guy, shutdown guy. I can look and see where he's slated in the Sharks lineup here to give us a little context to what kind of game he's allegedly trying to play. Wow, he's getting first line minutes on the left-hand side with Erik Karlsson, at least as of the last game, with their second pairing being Vlasic and Benning, and then Mario Ferraro, Jacob McDonald on the third pair. So, he's getting a lot of miles in with, the Sharks' best defenseman. But, yeah, it looks like he's the shutdown guy while Erik Karlsson wheels and deals. So, nothing wrong with getting some depth defense at literally league minimum to complement Dougie Hamilton, John Marino. Maybe Severson's going back. Maybe that's why they need to pick up another defenseman. Or maybe it's even Graves. I don't know. Tough to say. Could be Ryan Graves, and that's why they want a left-handed guy. But they still got Siegenthaler back there, Brendan Smith, Kevin Ball, also a very big presence in the Utica Comets franchise. Sounds like they're getting a little depth on that blue line.
Here's a little tidbit. Keandre Miller, a favorite, one of my honestly favorite players on the Rangers roster, just got a misconduct for spitting on Drew Doughty, future Hall of Famer Drew Doughty. There's that.
Oh my God.
Apparently he was disgusted about hearing about Timo Meier, so he just hawked a loogie on Drew Doughty. I'd love to see that. Oh, that's funny. Keeper Chronicles breaks it in for us. Love to see it. So.
Oh, ew. Oh, God. I just saw. Oh. Like, it's not like he doesn't cock his head back malicious, but that's the problem with slow motion cameras in sports. You just see a fucking loogie just nonchalantly leave fucking Keandre Miller's mouth and hit Doughty right in the visor. So gross. Oh, that's so gross. Oh, man. Yeah, I got it. There's no way that didn't end up being a just pummeling scrum after that. You can't be spitting on people. Unless you're Ryan Miller going to walk over to Milan Lucic and spitting in his face after he runs you.
Yeah.
There's no reason to be spitting on anybody. But even then, maybe just whack him in the legs with the paddle and just start fighting.
Yeah, right.
Doughty's got a little bit of a reputation, but still, we shouldn't be spitting on people. That might be a bridge too far,
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's stick to face washing. Let's just drop the gloves if you got a problem with someone. Because that's going to open the door to Brad Marchand licking people's faces again.
They're doing this shit to us on purpose. They probably know the whole return. Let's just get as much publicity out of this as possible. Let's drag this out as long as we possibly can. Just give them one piece of the trade every 10 minutes. This is getting infuriating. Oh God.
Well, 5 more minutes before we call it, but then watch it'll drop at 6:01, and then we'll feel like fools for cutting it so long.
This is just becoming, excruciating. It's like listening to I would say listening to chalk, nails on chalkboard, but Jesus, come on. Like the pieces they're giving us too, they're tidbits, but it's nothing that's just like we expected there to be salary retained, right? Before it was even announced, it's a Dawson Mercer is not part of this trade. No way. I guess the second player being Scott Harrington. I mean, that's news, I guess, for the sake of he's a depth defenseman. Nothing crazy. I just, again, give us something here.
I mean, I could go find a phone book and just start reading out of it. I think that
we could
just start listing off some names.
Sort us out.
Maybe he's the return.
Oh my God! Give us something.
Okay, this one's fun. Okay, this isn't actually true, but
this is a pretty good job of dragging this out as long as we have.
Yeah. This is a funny tweet. The Winnipeg Jets have hinted the Timo Meier trade. I'm told that they are retaining 50% of Meier's contract so they can tell their fans that they traded for Timo Meier.
That'd be hilarious.
Yeah, we traded for Timo Meier's salary.
Hey, we got a 3rd-round draft pick out of it, guys, or 4th, whatever it might be. I mean, it'd be cool if Buffalo was brokering this to get some draft picks out of it.
Yeah, I'd be cool with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that. Who wouldn't? Take on whatever half of his deal is this for the rest of the season. Help pave the way for that deal to happen. But right now, it's not being reported at all that there is a 3rd-team broker involved with this. But what we know so far, confirmed-ish, that's left-handed defenseman Scott Harrington will be going back to New Jersey with Timo Meier. That San Jose will retain half of Timo Meier's salary, and that Dawson Mercer will not be part of the deal going back to San Jose, and that potentially there is no deal in place for Timo Meier as of right now prior to this trade. So any extension signed by New Jersey with Timo Meier would happen after this. So there's nothing that was agreed upon yet as of reported by, I believe it was originally reported by Pierre LeBrun?
Yeah, originally Pierre LeBrun got this gravy train rolling. But nothing since.
Still waiting.
Absolutely.
Bueller.
Well, somebody's circling back to Buffalo Sabres talk here, asking what moves, if any, would Kevin Adams make? Which we've literally we've talked that extensively, already. But just to recap it, I mean, I think it would help to add something to that second line. To help Dylan Cozens, so he's not always the driving force of that second line. I think you really need a complement to Owen Power defensively, or just somebody that doesn't make guys like Cale Clegg or Jacob Bryson part of your everyday lineup going into potential playoff race. You need to add some toughness and some grit. 100%. I know those are buzzwords like grit and sandpaper, but this team is in desperate need of it because they've shown in the past when teams get overly physical, they have trouble responding and it affects them like dramatically in the game. So I'd like to see them add some sandpaper and some grit and goaltending. Yeah, you want better goaltending, more consistent goaltending, but the goaltender market around the trade deadline can be kind of finicky. We've seen names like Cam Talbot, and Thatcher Demko thrown around quite a bit. So we'll see if that's and it has been speculated that the Sabres are in a goalie market. They were connected with Cam Talbot yesterday. So I don't know. We'll see. So Bueller, Meier, Timo. Good Lord.
Oh my God.
For Puck's Sake podcast, will we get the rest of the Timo Meier trade return before we record today at 7:30?
Yeah.
I don't know. That would be nice. I would love to know what the Timo Meier trade return is.
Would love to know. Isn't Jake Paul fighting Fury today? Isn't that happening? That old YouTube fighter thing?
I don't know. He might be. I usually just try to ignore Jake Paul. He's just kind of I feel like he would as you've said before, I think he would be best suited to just spend his time in the WWE. I don't think he should
phenomenal in the WWE.
I don't think he should be legitimately fighting human beings. I think he's going to get very hurt. I mean, fucking Brock Lesnar couldn't even do it. He's a monster. So, yeah, I think Jake Paul has the kind of personality to be a professional wrestler in the WWE or something like that. But I don't think he should be trying to.
No, not at all.
Do anything.
No.
UFC adjacent.
UFC adjacent. Yeah.
He's gonna get hurt. He's gonna just get himself killed, and that's no fun. No one wants to see that.
We have 18, almost 20 live viewers joining us on YouTube. Appreciate it, guys. We're in the hundreds on Twitter. People that are joining us. Updates right now. What we know so far, that Dawson Mercer is not part of the deal. That, again, Dawson Mercer will not be part of the return going back to San Jose. We do know that Scott Harrington is the second player going back with Timo Meier. We do know that the San Jose Sharks will retain half the salary, and we do know that New Jersey, prior to this trade call, have not reached an extension with Timo Meier, which I had imagined that would be, that would be considered, that would be common sense to me, that whatever this return is, which would probably be massive, that you're going to get something locked up for Timo Meier. Like, you have to get that guy locked up if you're making this big of a trade, with this big of a return, potential return for him.
Oh, fuck. President Biden, what's your plan to release the details of the Timo Meier trade? We need answers. Yeah,
it's going as far as the White House.
We need the federal government to intervene here.
Oh my God!
There is a campaign of disinformation being spread, and I, for one, cannot stand by another minute while we continue to not know what's going on. Okay. We got a good thing to distract ourselves with here.
All right, what's that?
Carl Lampier III. Can we talk about how bad Mitzi's pass during that game was today? Yes, we can. That was one of
the worst.
If not
remember the Tage Thompson pass? I think it was last year, but the year before that. It was literally, I remember we had Dom on live with after he made that pass. It was literally like a turnaround blind pass. It was like at not a 90-degree angle, but half that, whatever, the 35-degree angle, right up the gut from right in front of his own goal line and right into the slot, right onto an opposing player's stick. It was as bad as that.
It was so bad.
Yeah.
You gained the line. You just had to chip it forward, and you decided to just feed it back, no look. Obviously, you didn't quite know that Sonny Milano was breaking out.
Yeah.
But why that is your instinct when you have already beaten the defenders trying to clog up the neutral zone? You're over their line. Okay, keep it chronicles is making fun of your math here. Half of 90 is 35. It's 45. But yeah, it was like the lowest hockey IQ play we've seen the Sabres make probably this entire year.
Yeah.
It was rough, buddy.
I'm watching the Keandre Miller spit right now.
It's so gross.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Right in his face.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we need to get rid of these slow motion cameras for some of this stuff. Like, I don't need to see that in slow motion and in 2160p slow mo high def. I don't need that. I could have gone my whole life without seeing that.
Literally, ugh. I mean, that camera caught it at the perfect time. Nothing. Oh yeah. The only thing missing is like the spit hitting his face.
Oh yeah, another angle from the sideboards there where it like actually like runs down the visor or something. God, so gross.
Yeah. Oh my God. Jesus. I mean, give us something here, man.
Paramount Pictures. I wouldn't mind Sonny Milano on our team. Matt misses his brother from another mother.
from Katz in our group chat. Hearing Lou has something cooking to add at the NHL trade deadline for the Islanders. From IB the Gambler, I'm blocked by this guy because I think he's a tool. He blocks everybody if you say anything remotely, not even disrespectful, but disagree with him. He comes at you with like 15 different fake accounts, and then they block you. So
that sounds super healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
So 3 days ago, and this was from James Nichols, the San Jose Sharks have shown trade interest in Fabian Zetterlund from the Devils. So that was from 3 days ago. So maybe he could be part of this deal.
Yeah. He's another one of those many guys who isn't signed through next year. So yeah, it's absolutely plausible.
Definitely. So I'm just curious of who the hell
Oh, here's an interesting question from Mark Brescia. How many potential Timo Meyers do you think are in the Sabres organization? And I don't know if he's talking about current players or if he's talking about prospects, people who could get to that level.
Yeah.
What do you think, Duane?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just you answer that first. I need a second.
I mean, I guess it's easier to be optimistic about prospects. You could make the argument that maybe a guy like Savoy could learn that 200-foot game to, be that guy. And obviously, we're going to get to a point where we are log jammed at center. There's only so many players who can play the position of center, and now that Tage and Dylan are 1 and 2, in theory, for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
You got guys fighting for 3 and 4. Makes more sense to move some people to the respective wings. And I can't remember. I'm pretty sure Matt Savoy is a right-handed shot. If I'm not mistaken, I am right. Cool. Yeah, he is a right-handed shot. I believe Yuri Kulik is a left-handed shot. So those two guys could potentially be future additions to the third line with a guy like Peyton Krebs centering them both. We know Peyton Krebs is a skilled playmaker, and with Matt Savoy on one of the wings doing a lot of hard work, doing a lot of grinding. Though Peyton Krebs and Matt Savoy working off each other to feed a guy like Yuri Kulik who's just going to shoot dimes for days. Yeah. That could be an unreal third line for a very long time. Much like Timo Meier, he's not quite point per game yet, but he's dangerously close to that mark. He's yet to do that, but again, there was that one season where he was at 76 points in 77 games. Like he's basically there. And that's ultimately what you want, a point per game guy, a nice, respectable 70 to 80 points a year, day in and day out. And Dylan Cozens is in his breakout season here. He's getting pretty darn close to that figure. Like he's doing great. And I mean, obviously a little bit of that could be padded by power play time that he wasn't getting as much of last season, of course. But I mean, he's making, we've been seeing him make an awful lot happen 5-on-5, and that's where he's been making his bread and butter. So, I mean, Dylan Cozens, as far as like active players right now, that seems like the most obvious choice in my mind to be like a 200-foot guy who can make an impact every night and be a consistent point per game player throughout his tenure in Buffalo.
Yeah.
But prospect-wise, I got my eyes on Savoy. I think he could be that guy. Or maybe even Ostlund if he starts developing at a different maybe next year when he's a little bit another year older, another year wiser, add a little more size like all these small 5'9", 5'10", 5'11" kids need to do. Maybe he'll have a little bit of a breakout of his own because Noah Ostlund was picked up to be another just absurd playmaker. Yeah. Just disgusting how good he is. Like kind of like that Rob Thomas in St. Louis level of playmaking. It's just disgusting. The seams he can find, like the surgical precision he has with the way that he made plays. Yeah, I think Noah Ostlund's got that kind of look too. But again, I just think he's farther behind on that learning curve maybe a guy like Savoy is, or where Dylan Cozens obviously is right now.
Yeah. So Jack Roslovic, a pick we originally owned before Timo Meier traded it away. Another guy asked about Anthony Duclair. I was on the Anthony Duclair train when he was a free agent back. This is back when we brought back Zemgus Girgensons on that multi-year deal. This is back like when obviously play stopped because of COVID. The cap was stagnant. Teams were signing players in short-term deals at a unbelievably reasonable price. I think Duclair was a $1 million guy who former first-round pick guys just has shown the potential throughout his career. Just never really reached it, and you got him for $1 million. That was also the year of Carter Verhaeghe coming off a huge year. They got a $1 million deal, was 1 year for $1 million. But yeah, I would like Anthony Duclair again, a guy who adds a bunch of skill and toughness to your lineup. Duclair would be awesome for sure. Jack Roslovic, another center, I believe. If he's available, is he available?
Roslovic? I haven't heard anyone kicking the tires on it, but
I haven't heard his name since he was traded.
But I mean, with the season that they're having, I feel like you'd be hard pressed to make the argument that anybody, in Columbus, aside from Johnny Gaudreau or Patrick Laine, is untouchable.
Yeah,
like Boone Jenner, Jack Roslovic.
I love Boone Jenner. I like Keegan Colasar a lot. He's
I take that back. Maybe one other untouchable might be a guy like. Look, I feel like they're putting a lot of stock in Nick Blankenberg. I think a lot of them.
He was an undrafted free agent signing. He was the cap. I think he was wasn't Blankenberg. I think he was the captain of the
Michigan. Yeah, wasn't he constantly playing with Mr. Power?
Yep, he was not mistaken.
Yeah. So I mean, I think he's doing well there, but like
he was the guy I wanted Kevin Adams to take a swing at.
But yeah, I mean, to that end, I really can't see anybody that's like just completely untouchable. Obviously, Alexander Texier is in the substance abuse and behavioral health program this year, so he's not playing. Obviously,
Kent Johnson would be untouchable.
Kent Johnson, Blankenberg, Gaudreau, Laine, maybe Voracek, if not because of his skill, just because of that price tag of $8.25 million. Those are probably the only people that you're. Oh, and Elvis, of course. I don't think they're going to move Elvis.
I just did Tommy. Speaking of that whole fight thing, I know Tommy Fury just defeated Jake Paul, apparently. Which, for those who think that Jake Paul's fights have been fixed, yeah.
Apparently that one wasn't.
He won via split decision. Jake Paul has been silenced for the first time ever. So there's a tweet. Tommy Fury beat Jake Paul before we got the Timo Meier reaction.
Jesus
Christ. Tommy. Jake Paul before we got the Timo Meier live reaction and live tweeting with friggin' Duane and Steve from Two Goalies. I'm like,
I mean, I'll hang up and tweet this. I think
right.
Yeah.
That's
this. Jeez Louise. So
I mean, I'm running out of stuff to say.
Well, yeah, I mean, we definitely pushed it beyond the 6 o'clock deadline we gave ourselves here. It's almost 6:15 here.
Yeah. So, I think hard out 6:30.
Hard out 6:30. Okay.
Hard out 6:30.
You heard it here first, folks. Will it into existence? Manifest it.
Unless we get the trade return at like 6:29, and then yes, we'll react.
Yeah, then we're gonna keep talking about it.
Yeah, then we'll keep talking.
If we don't hear anything by 6:30, we're gonna have to finally call it here.
Yeah.
But manifest it. Call your aunt who's really into crystals to see if she can put some good vibes out into the universe. Do what you gotta do. Make a little incantation from the Necronomicon. I don't know, whatever the fuck people do to make shit happen.
Yeah.
whatever the Dallas Stars did to not get called for that foot in the crease to win the cup,
Yeah.
Whatever kind of sorcery that was.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. Or whatever Connor McDavid does before bed every night to just like wake up and be that good at anything in this world,
Right.
Day in and day out.
Connor Bedard, man. Do you think he'll be better than McDavid?
That's such a hard question. To answer.
It's a hard prediction, dude, but I mean, he's the one constant comparison that they give Bedard to McDavid. It's nobody else. Everyone says McDavid.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's that player where the second he's on the ice, that all bets are off.
Yeah.
Albeit the Oilers did lose yesterday.
Yep.
They were down 4-0 to the Blue Jackets, but still found a way to make that game end 6-5. They took 4 unanswered. They scored 4 unanswered in like 10 minutes. It took the Blue Jackets 30 minutes to do that, and then they undid all the work they did in 10. One of a lot of that being work from McDavid and Draisaitl.
Yeah.
But
for those just joining us, I tweeted it out again. We're still waiting on the full return and the Timo Meier trade to the New Jersey Devils. What we do know is Scott Harrington, left-handed defenseman, is going to New Jersey with Timo Meier. San Jose will be retaining half of Meier's salary, and there is no extension signed yet for Timo Meier with New Jersey prior to the trade call. So whatever extension that will be signed is going to be done after. But again, I'd imagine that this trade is contingent on him re-signing. So there's probably already agent to agent, agent to GM, something's in the works, hopefully, if you're a New Jersey Devils fan. And Dawson Mercer will not be part of the trade return.
Yeah, again, good news for Jersey.
Yep.
He's making an impact. He's a good young guy. They want to see what they have in him. They believe in him.
Yep.
So good that they don't have to give him up. Good that they're more giving up on like true prospects. Some of the hypothetical trade packages, now that we know that what the return is a 50% Timo Meier and Scott Harrington. God, I almost said Mike Harrington. Oh man, I almost said Mike Harrington just because.
Mike Harrington.
Yeah, Mike Harrington to the New Jersey Devils.
We're sending Mike Harrington back to the Devils.
Yeah, you heard it. You heard it here first.
Mike Harrington going back to the Jersey Devils.
Yeah. Yeah.
Blockbuster, big splash.
Lock it in.
Lock it in.
Lock it.
Mike Harrington.
Oh man. Okay, yeah. I almost misspoke. I like my Scott, but yeah.
The only way this could get worse is if they Elliot Friedman tweeted out hearing Kane to Rangers waiting on return now. Then I don't think we're ever logging off, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, you know what? We know what the return is going to be. It's going to be the Taylor Hall return times 2. It's going to be New York Rangers second round pick and their equivalent of Anders Bjork.
Yeah.
Which we thought was Kravtsov, but he just moved to Vancouver, so I don't know who it is anymore.
Yeah.
But that was the and when I saw that they actually had their second round pick available this year, it made me laugh so much. Maybe they'll move Tyler Mott again. Oh, you know what? It's this year's second round pick and Jimmy Vesey to the Chicago Blackhawks in exchange for Patrick Kane.
So this is one of the it's just some random Twitter account out there. Danny is his handle name at DanMuss17. Just from researching Twitter, searching out Timo Meier's name. He just randomly tweets this out. Timo Meier 50% retained Scott Harrington, and in return Alexander Holtz, which I feel very confident he's one of the guys going back. Seamus Casey, defenseman, Chase Stillman, a 2024 first-round pick, and a 2023 fourth-round pick. I find to believe that would be it. I mean, actually, Seamus, those. I don't know much about Chase Stillman, but Casey and Holtz, that would be a good return for them, for sure.
Yeah, those are two quality prospects.
Quality prospects, yes. I mean, Seamus
really
Casey's,
good
I think, the third highest ranked one in terms of New Jersey's pipeline, right after Luke Hughes and Alexander Holtz. I think it's actually no, it's another defenseman, then Seamus Casey.
It's probably Simone Nemec.
Yep. So
yeah.
Still not a bad return. Again, I highly doubt Simone Nemec is part of that deal. So still waiting. Littering and
smoking the reefer. I'm freaking out, man.
Freaking out, man. You are freaking out. Man. God damn. Man, whoever breaks this trade, whoever breaks this return, probably
Kevin Weeks. Where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why this trade hasn't been broken yet, because Kevin Weeks is not on the beat. Is he still driving around Jersey going, have you seen Timo Meier? Have you seen Timo Meier? Or, honestly, if we're like waiting for Kevin Weeks to film some elaborate bit to break this trade,
I know.
That's my only excuse to be like, you know what, that was worth the wait. But anything else, like if we're just waiting for like the Columbus Blue Jackets to retain 25% of that salary on top of this to like get a 4th round pick, fuck off. We don't need that. We don't need to be waiting this long for that.
Oh my God.
Oh man, it's that Squidward meme. When I'm in a gatekeeping competition and my opponent is NHL insiders regarding the Timo Meier trade. Oh man. Oh fuck. This is killing me.
1 second. This is great.
Just do you have Kevin's number? Just call Kevin. Just be like, bro.
Kevin. People who are gonna listen to this audio are gonna be fucking miserable.
Just call Kevin and just be, bro. I mean, we'll probably have to cut the audio of this episode.
I'm not. I am literally.
Yeah.
It's literally gonna be start to finish. There's no way. There is no way I am like not including this entire. Maybe I'll give it the timestamp in the details. If you want to know our actual reaction to Timo Meier trade, you can go to this point.
Yeah, too long didn't read.
Oh my God.
So you're gonna give them the podcast version of the movie The Tree of Life?
Literally.
That's your goal? That's what you want to do to these poor people? Oh my God. This is just speculation. We're at this point, we're just reading memes on the internet right now.
That's really what we're doing, yeah.
We're just
this takes literally commitment on our side of things. Like this takes a lot of commitment to
I've had to go to the bathroom for a minute.
Huh?
I've had to go to the bathroom.
Go to the bathroom, bud. I've gone twice.
I don't want to get up. I don't want to be the schmuck who misses it.
I know.
I'm just sitting on the john, and then all of a sudden, Timo Meier is finally moving in exchange for this dump truck of money and picks and prospects. I mean, the best one I've seen so far is Timo Meier to New Jersey in exchange for 100% ownership stake in the organization of the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah.
You just
I
own
saw
it.
one for Aaron Judge. Like he's been traded for Aaron Judge.
That's fucking. Yeah, Timo Meier for Kenny Powers, 1-for-1.
Yeah, right. Timo
You're
Meier
fucking out. I'm fucking
the exact location of Jimmy Hoffa's body.
Oof. Good Lord.
Yeah, we finally know. Know where Jimmy Hoffa's buried. That's the return. They'll finally the people of San Jose will get to know where Jimmy Hoffa's buried. What else is fun from New Jersey? The unedited, unreleased footage from The Sopranos. The alternate ending. That's what you get. That's what the return is. The alternate ending of the Sopranos series. You get the real ending that they wanted to go with.
That would be the most New Jersey return there ever could be.
Right.
That would be incredible.
You get to know what the real ending was supposed to be.
Yeah, and the alternate ending has like commentary cut by Gandolfini where he's just like, I don't know why the fucking network went with this fucking bullshit ending. Like the ending that we came up with was so much fucking better, dude.
Yeah.
It was so much better.
Then you find out he's not really dead.
But you know, like
he's not really dead.
They write my checks. I can't really tell them what to do.
I tried to.
It is what it is.
I tried to release the unedited, uncut real ending of the Sopranos series, and they tried to off me. So now I'm in hiding.
Yeah, I tried to put it out, but I didn't know how to make the freaking YouTubes work.
The YouTube. Some more comments in here from Matt. Joel Edmondson from Montreal. I've liked Joel Edmondson. I can't remember. I think he has 1 year left on his deal up in Montreal. Montreal's obviously in a situation where they're selling off everything in the Card sweepstakes, the tankathon. Yep. So yeah, I would like Joel Edmondson. I think that'd be a great ad for Buffalo. We've already talked about Joel Farabee from Philly. He's kind of been on Tortorella's hot seat. He's been a healthy scratch a couple of times. So that would be a nice ad for sure. And I am still thinking Alex DeBrincat still has gotten an extension yet. Ottawa. I mean, adding Cat would be fantastic. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I don't know what his cap hit would be. He's having a down year, isn't he?
Actually, he's doing all right. He's got 49 points in 58 games. So
that's
even on the Sens, he's doing fine.
That's probably like a $7 million contract right there.
He's 6.4 right now, and he's a pending RFA at the end of the year.
I think to get over 8, you probably need to be a point a game player.
Yeah.
So I would think that's like a $7.5 million area. And you can't, again, if you're gonna sign a guy like Alistair Brincat in Buffalo, you can't have him making more money than Cozens and Tage. No way.
Absolutely not.
No way.
So there would need to be that understanding set. I keep forgetting how tiny
Elliot Friedman. I mean, I subscribe to Elliot's tweets, and he just tweeted out coverage for Toronto Seattle begins in 3 minutes, and nobody cares. Literally nobody cares.
Yeah. I mean, no one cares about Toronto regular season games anyway, because the only games that matter are the first 7 of the postseason.
Great. Stop tweeting. Literally nobody cares. No one cares. Post the Timo return. Don't care. Announce the Meyer return. Elliot, no one cares. Just announce the trade details. Sharks get what's the return? Tell us the TAM. There's literally not a single tweet about Toronto or Seattle that whatever it is. Nobody cares. Give us the Meyer return. How much longer do we got to wait? Don't even stop. Stop tweeting unless it's the Meyer return. Oh my God. This is great. Oh my God, it's funny. Literally nobody cares. Give us something else. Come on, Freeze. Give us something, bud. Give us something.
I'm gonna tweet at
It's been over an hour since he tweeted out here in Timo Meyer to New Jersey.
I'm tweeting at Kevin Weeks. We need you to save us from this purgatory with a gif of Stefan going, Kevin. New York's hottest club is right. Kevin. I miss Stefan. I miss Bill Hader on SNL. I think that was like the beginning of the end.
Bill Hader and now
Bill Hader. God,
what's his face gone?
Incredible.
What's his name?
What guy?
Dated Kim Kardashian for like 6 months.
Oh, Pete Davidson?
Pete Davidson, yeah. Now he's gone.
God. Yeah, 2 very different eras. That's why I wasn't sure what you were thinking of. I'm like,
what random person would you want to tweet the Timo Meyer return? Just non-hockey related. Just a random person. And he's right. And people have to question, well, I mean, this guy's got 1.5 million friggin' followers, but he has nothing to do with hockey. Is he right? Like, who would you want to tweet that out?
I want Jim Carrey to do one of those weird abstract paintings that he does with just like the return on each side. One's just a devil and the other side's a shark. That would be pretty funny.
Who might be my random?
Oh, no. You want to know who it should be?
I don't know.
Jack Black is going to sing a song about it. The San Jose Sharks.
Give me Arnold Schwarzenegger in that heavy Austrian accent.
I mean, I'm not doing that.
The Timo Meyer return is Alexander Holtz. Get to the chopper. Get to the chopper. Absolutely. Get to the chopper, Alexander Holtz. You're going to San Jose.
I mean, I was about to say Gilbert Gottfried, but he's no longer with us. That would be incredible. The New Jersey Devils.
Eddie Vedder in that. Eddie Vedder in his heaviest grunge voice ever. So we literally don't understand what he's saying.
All right, you know what? Steve Buscemi breaking this trade.
That'd be great.
No notes. I would love it.
Just random, just anyone random that might break this trade.
I don't know why they're asking me, but apparently I'm required to read this statement. Who the fuck are these guys? But
right,
the San Jose Sharks. What even is this? Is this what? It's like lacrosse. I don't even know what this is. Fucking ugh. I don't know.
Looking back at the amazing life of Donald Brashear and why the Canucks should honor him. Just random. I'm just reading random stuff. I didn't know Donald Brashear died.
I also did not know that.
Did Donald Brashear pass away? Man, you learn stuff while you wait for a trade return. It's a shame that the one thing he's remembered most for is that Tyler Bertuzzi incident. Or not, yeah. I'm sorry, Marty McSorley, sorry.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my God.
Did he pass away? I don't think he has. Then why? That's such an ominous tweet. Yeah. No, he's alive. I'm pretty sure he's alive.
Oh my God. Oh, this kid is unhinged. He's posting screenshots of him having DM'd the Devils, Alexander Holt, Simone Nemec, Sharon.
Can you tell us, please?
Bro, are you going to San Jose? And then, like, in the comments, it's like, holy shit! He's like, ... Yeah.
Here it is. The people have waited long enough. If you don't say something about the Meyer trade, I'm going to be taking my services to Adam Schefter. and then he DMs Alexander Holz. Are you going to San Jose? He DMs Simone Nemec. What are you hearing about the Meyer trade? Then he did. Rich, are you going to San Jose? Oh, this guy, he's literally just losing his shit.
Oh my God,
this is great.
All right, we have hit the hard out that we gave to ourselves of 6:30. This episode has gone for 2.5 hours.
Oh yeah,
we could have watched The Batman.
We could have watched
in the amount of time that we've been talking about this. We could have watched a theatrical cut of the first Lord of the Rings in this much time. Just to put it in perspective, how long we've been waiting to get any actual morsels of information.
Regret to announce you're part of the return for Timo Meier from Ian McLaren. Funny, Ian. Funny. You're a funny guy. Nice work. Just give us something.
Oh, man.
Okay, I just got it from a reliable Twitter source. Twitter source. From Adam Herman, who's actually been on this show once with us. Adam Herman reports that Timo Meier to New Jersey Devils will return for a 2023 first-round pick, 2024 second-round pick, Seaside Heights. Fuck you. I fucking hate you so much.
Oh, he got you so.
I got so excited. I'm so excited.
You got baited. Oh shit. Oh no. I think with that we need to hang up and listen. Because at this point we're just gonna be grasping at straws, waiting for anything to come through here. The good people need to eat some dinner. I need to eat some dinner. I'm sure your dog wants to go for a walk. I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for the first intermission of the Toronto game so they have something to talk about to make people want to watch that game. I don't know.
So the second half of this tweet was Seaside Heights, Chris Christie, and the Bon Jovi rest stop.
And you read that thinking it.
Well, the first part was funny. The San Jose Sharks have traded Timo Meier to the Jersey Devils in return for a 2023 first-round pick, a 2024 second-round pick, and then Seaside Heights, which I'm not too familiar with. So I'm like, is that really a player? And then Chris Christie, I'm like, I guess that could be a player. And we don't know. And then I got the Bon Jovi. I'm like, you son of a bitch.
This
You
is
son of a bitch.
this is why you can't just read everything out loud on the internet.
Whatever. It's funny though because it's more entertaining than anything we've talked about the last 45 minutes.
Good Lord. Oh,
It's been a minute since we've received anything on Timo Meier.
Indeed. Perhaps these can be some parting thoughts. Maybe the real Timo Meier trade was all the friends we made along the way.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, no, I mean, we're at our hard out of 6:30. We're pushing 3 hours on this episode.
Yeah.
Something's happening behind the scenes that's clogging up the works here because they literally like teased this out an hour and a half ago.
Yeah,
that this was going to be a real thing to talk about.
Like, how could you do this to people?
I don't know, man.
Timo Meier trending. No shit.
Really?
No shit.
Timo Meier's trending. Also, water is wet.
It's been so long that I've forgotten Timo Meier's name. I'm just going to read a few of these memes out that are pretty funny. Hearing former U.S. President New Jersey Devils forward Barack Obama is heading back to the set. And he photoshopped Obama's head on Jack Hughes' body and took the C off and put a P for president.
Oh, man.
Some of these are funny.
I mean, they could have kept the C, Commander-in-Chief.
From Christy Flannery, what you need to know, Timo Meier is a member of the New Jersey Devils per Pierre LeBrun. There is no contract extension, which we know. Dawson Mercer is not part of the return per EJ Redick. Still waiting for yes, we know all that. Come on. I just don't want to end this like this. Oh my God.
If that one person who tweeted at like a trade return like an hour and a half ago was right all along, I'm gonna be so mad.
Oh, I know.
But he's not because he included LeBlanc, and we've got confirmation that Scott Harrington is the second player going back. Still though, come on.
Oh, could be something. It was funny. Somebody just posted the Jumanji GIF. What year is it? Robin Williams classic.
Insiders announcing trades without the full terms of the deal and return pieces in place should be sentenced to 24 hours in jail. This is irresponsible. At Pierre LeBrun, at Frege, at Frank Sedervin.
Seriously, that's what they should do.
Straight through jail. Believe it or not, jail.
Yeah, you're going to jail.
Overcooked fish, jail. Undercooked chicken.
Do not pass go.
Jail.
Do not. Was it? Do not pass go.
Do not collect $200. Go straight to jail. My goodness.
Oh my God. For Timo. All right, man. I'm gonna give it till 6:40 and then I'm out. Yeah, if anything happens in the next 2 minutes, then we're out of here.
Boop 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 doo doo. Yeah, maybe we need to put on
to retire at the end of the season. Barry Trotz to take the reins as GM. Really? Get out of here.
Yeah, I feel like Dewey talked about that in the group chat.
He did. Well, that's some like news. That's news.
That is.
So, man, that's definitely news. So, Barry Trotz. I mean, that's got to make Dewey actually, no, that's Nashville. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, anybody should be happy for Barry, though. He got a raw deal.
True.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean,
this is kind of David Poile has been the only GM in the history of Nashville.
Dang.
That's wild.
That is pretty wild.
Yep. That's fun. I mean, good for Barry Trotz if that's true. You know, he's been on the sidelines for a little bit, probably longer than he'd like. I do know that there was something going on in his life. It was reported that made go away from being a head coach made sense. Yeah, but other than that, so. But it is just about 6:40. Unfortunately, guys, we set 2 different times to be hard out. The first one was what was it? 6 o'clock?
6:15, then 6:30, then
6:40. We've tried really hard. We've tried really, really hard to break this news. Even now, as I'm talking, just talking too much. Hoping that we could be live on air when this trade finally breaks. Steve, if you want to dip out, that's fine. I'll stay live here and hope for the best. But yeah, this has just been unbearable. And actually has been breaking as of 5 minutes ago. David Poile, the only general manager in the history of the Nashville Predators, announced today he's going to retire. Barry Trotz, the franchise's first ever and winningest head coach, takes the reins as general manager on July 1st, 2023. So that's exciting news. I forgot. You almost forget that Barry was their head coach, right?
Yeah. It'll be cool to see Trotz get a chance to be the polar opposite of Lou Lamoriello, that's ultimately who he's been having to deal with for a long, long time. So, it'll be interesting to see what happens when he has more or less complete control. It's going to be fun. And I think with Nashville, you kind of have your work cut out for you, but I don't think there are too many deals that are so terrible that you can't make something meaningful happen.
Yeah.
After this year, you only have 3 more years of Matt Duchene at $8 million, although he's 32, so it's gonna only get worse from here.
Yeah.
Philip Forsberg is signed through 29-30 at 8.5. So yeah, he will also be signed until he's 35 for even more money. Ryan Johansson, only 2 more years at $8 million. But it's going to be. There's definitely some big contracts that you're going to have to get out from under.
This is a funny tweet. This is for baseball fans out there. Timo Meyer trade is off. Apparently, Carlos Correa failed his physical again. For anybody who knows that, Carlos Correa was traded like 2 weeks ago, and it was apparently going to happen, but then he failed his physical, so the trade was off. That's funny. So, all right, I'm just a ball out of patience here.
Yeah.
From Tim and Friends 13 seconds ago. This is something because it's coming from Tim and Friends. Timo Meyer is reportedly heading to the New Jersey Devils for a reported haul of players and picks that is definitely still just a report and in no way official. But they did tweet out a graphic. Yeah. Timo Meyer going to New Jersey or from New Jersey.
Maybe Scott Harrington.
Maybe 2023 first round pick. Maybe. Oh, you fucking assholes. They did it again.
They got you good, man.
Scott Harrington, you bunch of pricks. Why are they doing this? Why?
Yeah, Paul Hamilton and Mike Harrington are being traded to the New Jersey.
Yeah. But I got nothing left, buds.
We're trading Mike Harrington and Paul Hamilton to the Philadelphia Flyers in exchange for Travis Konecny and 50% of Rasmus Ristolainen's salary, just cuz. That's our new trade. Breaking. You heard it here first.
Could you imagine they were that desperate to get half his salary off the board? They were willing to make a deal with Buffalo for like a second round. We'll trade you a second round pick to retain half his salary.
Yeah. No, give us another first.
Thanks for Doug Clark kind of hanging in here with us. Says that Jack Johnson is heading back to the Avalanche per Kevin Weeks. So there's that.
So Kevin can talk about that. but not Timo. He's been Team Timo since day one out here. That's why I'm so surprised that he's not the one coming out here telling us what we need to hear.
I mean, Kevin has always been on top of it lately. Breaking news 2 minutes ago. I'm told the Blackhawks are trading defenseman Jack Johnson back to the Avalanche.
And all
Nothing. No return yet.
and yet we still don't know the Meyer return. We don't care. What about Timo?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, that's just every reply pretty much. It's like how does a whole new trade break before we get the full details on this one? It's ridiculous. Wow.
Jesus. Oh yeah, and again, nobody cares. Everybody's asking about Timo Meyer in the comments. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. But yeah, I'm officially done with this. So we've been on for officially 2 hours and 51 minutes. Guys, appreciate you hanging in with us. It's been fun. I can't sit in this chair any longer. So with that being said, barring any update here in the next 30 seconds, I'll hang up and listen. This has been brought to you by Outlet Liquor, the place to buy a case over on George Urban Boulevard. Don't waste your time. Get over to Outlet Liquor and all your Sabres game night needs, and get yourself a case of brewskis. With that being said, let's go Sabres. Please, for the love of God, give us the Timo Meyer return, before we're all old and dusty here. And you guys all have a good night.
Middle stat for Dumbo, 1 for 1. Who says no?
Middle stat for Dumbo, 101. I mean, I think, actually, I don't know if Minnesota would say no, right?
$6 million off the books.
Yeah. I mean,
you got to pay 14 in dead retention penalties next year.
Imagine him finally turning his fucking career around in Buffalo.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Is he an American-born player? I think he is, isn't he?
Dumbo?
Yeah.
Yep, pretty sure.
I wonder if he's played for Granada.
Good question.
That is a good question. Are you looking right now?
Looking right now. Let's see what you've done.
Just our way of dragging this out just a little bit longer.
No, he's a Canadian boy.
Oh, is he Canadian? Oh.
Saskatchewan. But
yeah, there's that. But anyways, guys, you guys have a good night. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday night, and make sure you subscribe to Two Goalies One Mic, or I'll hang up and listen on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, all the places you get your podcasts. And, we'll report as soon as we know what the hell is going on with Timo Meyer.
And let's go Lightning tonight.
Yes, let's go Lightning tonight.
We're all Lightning fans tonight.
We are all Tampa Bay Lightning fans tonight.
We don't care that they find a way to launder money and circumvent the cap. We don't care tonight because they're playing the Penguins and the Penguins need to lose.
If they want to trade for Timo Meyer for tonight to win that game, then we're fine with it. Do it.
Yep. Also, congratulations on joining the 700-point club to Kucherov. He just did that.
Actually, congratulations to Jeff Skinner, 600 points, right?
600 points, hell yeah.
And 600 games played for Zemgus Girgensons. That's exciting.
Yeah, big milestones happening out here.
Huge milestones. So, all right, guys. This is the third time saying goodbye to you. This is the last time. You guys enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. I'll hang up and listen and go Sabres.
Go Sabres.